Chapter 259. When other people ate dumplings, they put a lot of oil in the meat filling. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan made their own dumplings, which didn't have much oil in it. The beef, pork, and onion dumplings, as well as the san xian dumplings, also didn't have so much oil. Instead, they put some soup in the filling, then froze it and wrapped it in the dumpling skin. In this way, the former was not greasy, while the latter was fresh. Especially the soup in the dumplings, they could drink it first when eating. Hearing Wang Wan's words, someone immediately brought the dumplings over. There were 2 plates, 1 plate of the same kind, all cooked. It was the new year, so they ate boiled dumplings and steamed dumplings on normal days. As soon as the 2 of them started eating, Li Sun came over. He didn't like to eat oily dumplings, including the minister. Rich people didn't lack oily dumplings. Happy New Year, Grandpa Zhang. Happy New Year, Grandma Zhang. Li Sun was sensible and greeted them one by one. He said nice words, but he didn't kneel down and kowtow. When he greeted them, others also wanted to greet them. Li Sun quickly stopped them and said, "Brother Zhang and I feel like old friends at first sight. You are all elders, so you can't greet the younger generation. If you have prepared New Year's money, When he said that, the Zhang family and the Wang family didn't know what to do. His identity was there. Zhang Xiaobao said, "Hurry up and give me the money." Everyone took out their New Year's money. Li Sun took it one by one with a smile. He came here to build a relationship and to see what Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate. He knew that the 2 children could eat anything, but that was when they were surviving in the wild. They were usually picky about food. This could be seen from the dishes the 2 of them made last time. They didn't like to eat greasy food. At the same time, his eyes swept over the crowd and found that there was indeed a person called the Mute, which made him even more sure that this person was an expert. However, he didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao had arranged for people to come over. As long as he came over, the Mute, who was sitting in the next room, would also come over. At this time, Xiaobao had just taken a bite of a dumpling. His mouth was small, so he couldn't eat 1 dumpling at a time. The stuffing inside was exposed. He wrapped the dumpling into a ball and looked at the plate. There was only some stuffing that had fallen out when he was eating. There wasn't much oil. Li Sun immediately understood. The 2 of them were eating alone, and the dumplings on the other plate were definitely different from the one he was eating. "Xiaobao, you're too mean. You and Cuckoo are eating good food secretly, but you didn't send it to me. My dumplings are greasy and greasy." Zhang Xiaobao just remembered that there were people over there who didn't like to eat dumplings. He looked at Wang Wan. Wang Wan said, "Well, there are a lot of dumplings like this. Ask someone to cook them and bring them up. Remember to take a small bite when you eat this sanxian stuffing. Otherwise, don't blame others if it's hot." Li Sun was waiting for this sentence. He knew that he would be able to eat good food in a while. He said hello and turned back. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to eat the pig's claws. The pig's claws were not freshly made. They were made yesterday. After they were mashed, they were cold and could be chewed. When Li Sun returned to his place, he saw Minister Bai eating dumplings with a frown. He quickly said, "Minister Bai, wait a moment. I just found out that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were eating good food secretly. There wasn't much oil in the dumplings." When Minister Bai heard that there was little oil over there, he put down his chopsticks and waited. Some of his family members also didn't eat. They usually ate well, but they didn't like to eat. After a while, the dumplings were served. This time, it felt different. The old man ate 2 in a row. After eating, he drank some dumpling soup and said, "It's really different. The Zhang family really knows how to enjoy life." Sir, you're right. My little wife is here. How can she not know how to enjoy life? The Zhang family took advantage of us. Aunt Wang finally couldn't help but give credit to her family. The old man smiled and didn't comment. He had already asked around. The Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families had a good life when the two children were about to turn one. From then on, everything seemed to be different. He didn't know what was going on. Date and Jujube also tasted the two kinds of dumplings. They found that they were really different. After thinking about it, they still chose to eat the one with more oil. The two of them usually didn't eat so much good food. Anyway, the taste was about the same for them. It was better to eat more oil. Date, do you think that if the little wife comes home, will the house be so lively? Jujube envied the people here, especially after knowing the approximate monthly salary of pomegranate, cherries, and xiaohong. She hated that she couldn't be one of them. There was also the shop assistant between the clouds and the water. She could actually get so much money as a reward. In the capital, even the shopkeepers of some small shops couldn't get this much money. A few strings of coins a month was already not bad. Now, she was wondering if the little girl could go home and then turn the house into such a state. Date was also envious, but she knew her own limits. She said to Jujube, "Don't think about it. The little wife won't go back. Life here was not good. Her family never said anything about helping. Now that she has money and an official, it's difficult to find a way to go back. Isn't that so? There's only one dock in the whole county. There are mountains and so many shops. Look at their village. How comfortable it is to stay here. In the whole Sanchuei County, it's their place. They can do whatever they want. Yesterday, even if Li Sun didn't protect them, those people who came here wouldn't get any benefits. What can they do if they go back? How could it be as good as here?" There were still many people in the capital who could not be offended. He did not need to personally buy clothes in the capital. He could just get someone to go over. There was also a need for him to use powder. He could do it. Also, there are many restaurants in the capital. You can eat some good food. Look at between the clouds and the water. There's also the first restaurant by the water at the dock. I heard that some of the dishes they make are better than the restaurants in the capital. They do this, so they won't go there. Jujube also thought it through. If it were her, she wouldn't do it either. People lived comfortably here and went to the capital to look for trouble. But in this way, her family couldn't expect to be like here. The monthly salary was small, and they were always afraid of being punished for doing something wrong. Just as she was feeling sad, Date came up with an idea. "Jujube, if the little wife doesn't go back, can we stay and serve her? After all, the status of the Zhang family is different now. Back then, they didn't even have a servant girl as a dowry, and they didn't give any dowry. We have to compensate them, right?" "That's right. Back then, they didn't give anything. Aunt Wang definitely won't agree. Why don't we go and beg the little wife? Even if I don't want the monthly salary, I still want to stay here." Jujube yearned for this place. She discussed with Date about going to beg the little wife of her family. At the same time, she vigilantly looked at Aunt Wang, who was sitting there and eating dumplings slowly. Date was also tempted, but she was afraid that Aunt Wang would find out about this and be punished. She hesitated and didn't know what to do. "Date, let's go secretly." Aunt Wang didn't give the little wife a New Year's greeting just now. "We'll use this as an excuse. If she really wants to find trouble with us, we'll say that she didn't give us a New Year's greeting." Little Zhao gritted her teeth and decided to give it a try. As long as Lady Qiao wanted her, she believed that her family would agree. At that time, she would be able to bring her and Big Zhao's contract and not be bullied at home. When Big Date heard this, he nodded and stood up with Small Date. They slowly retreated until they reached the entrance. When they saw that Auntie Wong had not noticed them, they turned around and entered another room. They kept shuttling back and forth between the rooms. After they had gone through more than 10 rooms, they finally stopped and let out a long sigh. I know. It's over there. Let's go. Jujube patted her chest with her hand, and her nervous mood eased a little. The two of them started to walk around again. They didn't dare to go straight to the outside, so they could only walk from one house to another. The two of them were grateful to the Zhang and Wang families for building simple houses that were meant to be lively. There were doors everywhere, and there was no shelter. They could walk around however they wanted. The two were about to reach their destination. They were only 3 rooms away. At this time, a servant girl wearing the clothes of the Zhang family's inner courtyard came over with a compass. The two didn't pay attention and bumped into her. With a series of cracking sounds, the porcelain plates were all broken into pieces. Not a single one could be found intact. Ah! Big Date and Little Date were scared out of their wits. Looking at the plate on the ground, they couldn't say a single word. All they could think of was that this maidservant would be beaten to death. This compass was not ordinary. There were even golden threads where the flowers were drawn. Perhaps one of them was a string of 10. Date, what should we do? Should we take the blame or ignore her and run? Jujube was so scared that she started to tremble. Her voice also trembled. Take the blame. Will we be pulled back home by Aunt Wang? What should we do? Date was also confused. The one who wasn't confused was the servant girl who hit the plates. She stood there and looked at the plates on the ground, then looked at the 2 people who should also be servant girls. She sighed helplessly. Don't just stand there. Help me pick up the pieces. It will be troublesome if they stab someone. I will be scolded. Be careful. Don't leave anything behind. Don't cut your hands. As she spoke, she squatted down and picked up the pieces. She put the small pieces on top of the big ones. Date and Jujube could only pick up the pieces. While picking, they looked at the servant girl's face. She was still calm, but she was a little annoyed. This sister, it's all our fault. We were in a hurry just now and bumped into you. How much are these plates? We can take some out. Jujube thought about the money she saved with great difficulty. She was a little distressed. She was even more afraid that she and Date wouldn't have enough money to compensate. I don't know. I didn't buy it. You don't need to take it. How much money do you have? Keep it for yourself. The servant girl's movements were nimble. She had already picked up a lot and said to Jujube. Chapter 260. Dizeo, Jujube, and the 3 maidservants called Chiu-ju looked up at the same time. Steward Zhang, why are you here? Just in time, help me pick them up, there are too many broken pieces. Chiu-ju saw that it was Steward Zhang and immediately called out to him. Under the surprised and disbelieving gazes of Dizeo and Xiao Zhao, Steward Zhang really squatted down to help pick up the pieces. As he picked, he said, you have to be careful in the future. If you hurt yourself or others, you will be in pain for a few days. Don't you have a special bag for holding dishes? Remember to take it. I know, I was in a hurry to deliver the dishes just now, so I didn't take them. Steward Zhang, I'll take the rest, help me get something to hold it. Chiu-ju saw that the broken pieces were placed on a slightly tidy table and said to Steward Zhang. Steward Zhang immediately went to find something to hold the dishes. Dizeo and Jujube stood there in a daze, looking at the maidservant in front of them, speechless for a moment. What's wrong with you? Is it cold? Quickly go to the brazier over there to warm it. Thank you, Chiu-ju said to Dezeo and Jujube. This time, the two of them finally came back to their senses. Looking at the calm expression of the maidservant in front of them, Jujube asked tentatively, "Sister, you won't be punished, right? The plates are worth a lot of money. If you hurt others, you will be punished. If you hurt yourself, you will also be scolded. Now that no one is hurt, it's fine. Fortunately, I didn't hurt you." Chiu-ju let out a sigh of relief. Dezeo and Jujube took a deep breath. They didn't dare to believe what the maidservant in front of them said. Being punished and scolded wasn't based on how many plates were broken, but on whether or not you hurt others or yourself. Dezeo exhaled and asked, "Sister, what if you hurt others or yourself?" "Ah. Was he hurt? That would be troublesome. If someone were to be injured, I would have to call a doctor over immediately. I would also have to see where the injury was. If I were to delay their work, I would have to report it to the inner court, and the inner court would pay for the delay. If I hurt myself, that would be too scary. Please don't do it. I will be specially called to listen to how to follow the steps when working. I will also have to write at least 30 times. It is very tiring, even more tiring than working. Look at my hand, it is not injured at all. I am so happy." Chiu-ju waved her white hands in front of Date and Jujube, and a happy smile appeared on her face. Big Zeo and Jujube did not expect that they would receive such a punishment. Liar. The inner courtyard would pay for her injuries, but she would only have to write something when she was injured. This meant that the maidservant in front of her had to be literate. Which Zhuangzi or Zhuangzi's manner would be like this? If it were him, he would at least be beaten up. Jujube swallowed her saliva and asked again, "Sister, what if the plate is broken?" "If it is broken, then it is broken. It can't be fixed. What else can we do? Throw it away. Find a place where no one can touch it. Otherwise, it will hurt people again. Why is Steward Zhang not here yet? Why is he taking so long to find something? I still have work to do, but others have already rushed to finish it." Chiu-ju dealt with the plate very simply. She threw it away, but she was not satisfied with Steward Zhang. She pouted and muttered. "Sister, Jujube said that you don't need to pay for this plate." Date asked from the side. Chiu-ju laughed. She suddenly smiled. "Pay for what? It is just a plate. If it is gone, we can just buy it." Young Madam said that if the plate is gone, we can think of a way to get it. Talent is the most important. We can't use money to measure talent. In your manner, will you be beaten if you hit a plate? It is not like that here. If something happens, the punishment is usually to hurt yourself or put yourself in a dangerous place. The plate does not matter. We all know that the master is good. We all fight to do the work. No one will be lazy. That will be looked down upon by others. They will not even talk to you. It is so good that there is actually such a master. To be able to do things in such a place, I will also fight to do the work. It is like a dream. When Jujube heard Chiu-ju's words, her eyes turned red. It was unknown whether she was envious or touched. She said faintly. Date was the same. Looking at her white and tender hands, and then looking at his and Jujube's hands that were frozen and cracked while washing clothes, he knew how she worked. She must have let a man do the washing. Otherwise, how could the maidservant's hands be so good? Aya, what did you do to your hands? You washed the clothes, right? You did not know how to boil some hot water. Next time, remember to wash it with hot water. It is fast and clean. After washing, apply some oil on your hands. You are not afraid of cracking. I still have some. I will give you a small jar later. The master made it himself. There is deer oil, snake oil, and badger oil. It is very good. Look at my hands. I still have 2 jars. After the new year, I can go and get more on the 15th. It is enough. When Chiu-ju saw Date looking at her hands, she looked at the 2 people's hands. The cracks on them were scary. Date knew that he guessed wrong. He tried his best to shrink his hands into the sleeves of his clothes. Thank you, sister. She did not need to ask how the money for the firewood was calculated. The master could even give such a precious hand oil on time. What was the money for the firewood? People could not be compared. It seemed that Lady Chiao would not go back. If she went back, what about the rules? Yes, she and Jujube must think of a way to stay. As long as they stayed, they could be like them. They did not need to care about the dishes. When they were working, they would be protected by something. They just needed to work hard. Date was determined to come here. He turned to look at Jujube. Jujube also had the same look. Steward Zhang finally came. He smiled at Chiu-ju who was waiting there and said, I was busy with something just now. You go and do your work. I will clean up. Chiu-ju pouted. She stood up and said, you delayed my work. Humph, Date and Jujube looked at Chiu-ju who left enviously. A person who was willing to work could give the housekeeper a hard time. The housekeeper still had to stand firm. It was unbelievable. The 2 of them looked at each other and continued to walk towards their destination. Father, eat more ginger. Staying in the house all day is too dark. It is easy to catch a cold. Tomorrow, I will ask someone to make more ginger slices and send them to father. Zhang Xiaobao saw his father retch when he drank the dumpling soup. He knew that his father's stomach was cold. When he washed it with hot water, it would be like this. He picked up a few ginger slices from a plate of fish and placed them on his father's plate. Father Zhang did not like to eat ginger. When he heard his son's words, he picked up the ginger slices and stuffed it into his mouth. He chewed vigorously and said, it's delicious. My son knows how to care for his father. Eat more in the future. Mother, try this fish. It is made directly from the sauce of the live fish. Zhang Xiaobao picked up a piece of meat beside the gills and placed it on his mother's plate. Wang Wan was also doing the same thing. She grew up in a traditional family and knew what to do. No matter what the children gave them, the 2 families would immediately eat it and praise how delicious it was. At this kind of warm moment, Date and Jujube suddenly appeared. Seeing the 2 families getting along well, they stood at the door and did not dare to make a sound. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan turned around at the same time. The person sitting in front also happened to see Date and Jujube. You are Date. Zhang Wang clan was sitting next to Zhang Xiaobao. She also turned around and looked at the 2 maids. She felt that they looked familiar, so she guessed and asked. Date and Jujube wish Lady Chiao a happy new year. Wish young master a happy new year. Here. Date and Jujube seemed to have discussed it a long time ago. The 2 of them spoke at the same speed and in the same order. They knelt there and kowtowed one by one. After a round of kowtowing, they still knelt there and did not get up. Okay, get up. You are so far away and yet you are still here. Come and eat something. Zhang Wang clan saw that the maids at home had come to wish Lady Chiao a happy new year. Even if she was angry, she could not vent it on them. She also knew that the maids at home could not be compared to the maids here. They had to endure hardships and tiredness, but they could not do anything wrong. Date and Jujube were still kneeling there. Jujube kowtowed to Zhang Wang clan a few more times and said, Lady Chiao, please let Date and me stay. We don't want to go back. We will work hard and not be lazy. Our family is not as good as ours. Just now, Date and I accidentally bumped into Chiu-ju's older sister, and the plate broke. Date and I were scared and thought that it was over. Then, the housekeeper came, and then. Without Jujube saying anything, Jiang Wang clan also knew what was going on. The rules were set by her son and daughter-in-law, and there were also people patrolling back and forth at night. At first, she did not think much of it, but later on, she realized that the maids in the courtyard did not need to be urged to do anything. If there was work, someone would do it. Sometimes, when there was nothing to do, the maids in the courtyard would go find work themselves. It was easier to manage them than before. How many things could be broken? It was impossible for the maids to break things every day. That little bit of money could not be compared to their enthusiasm for work. Date and Jujube must have seen Chiu-ju break things. When the housekeeper saw it, he first asked if Chiu-ju was okay. If Chiu-ju was fine, then he did not care about the situation. Usually, there was no comparison, but today, they saw that the maids were treated differently. It was no wonder that they wanted to come over. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Hey! Get up. We have to wait for housekeeper Wang to come over. She didn't come. Jiang Wang clan stretched out her hand to pull Date and Jujube. As she spoke, her expression darkened. The maids were here, and you, as a housekeeper, dared to not come over to pay your New Year's greetings. Aunt Wang didn't know that Date and I were coming over. We were afraid that she would not let us. If we wanted to do something here, she would beat us to death. Jujube said as she wiped away her tears. Jiang Wang clan thought for a moment. Alright, if she doesn't want to come, then so be it. I am no longer a member of the Wang clan. I am the daughter-in-law of the Zhang clan. I will get someone to do the work for you too. Even if I have to buy it, I will buy it for you. Chapter 261. Zhang Xiaobao's father was relieved, but Zhang Xiaobao was angry. A steward actually dared to not greet the young ladies in the manner on New Year's Eve, nor did he come to the Zhang family to greet the son-in-law. What was this? A steward who could come here meant that he wasn't the most important person in the manor. He was just a deputy, yet he dared to treat his mother and the Zhang family like this. Wasn't this looking down on people through a crack in the door? Zhang Xiaobao put down his chopsticks and sat there in deep thought. His hand tapped on his face. Wang Wan saw this from the side. She thought to herself, it's over. He had already offended Xiao Bao in the day, and now he had offended Xiao Bao's mother. I wonder if that Aunt Wang can go back alive. Wang Wan believed that Zhang Xiaobao felt that he could do something unimaginable for his family. The Jia County magistrates were scheming against the entire Zhang family. Zhang Xiaobao didn't intend to kill anyone when he sent the bailiffs over. He only wanted to force the steward away. It would be better if the steward could be dealt with, and it could be resolved peacefully. However, the steward was directly facing his mother. Thinking about what he had done in the past, it might not be peaceful this time. The Jiang Wang clan also saw Zhang Xiaobao's actions. She knew what her son was like. Her son had done this many times, and the other party didn't get any benefits. According to her daughter-in-law, he was full of evil tricks. Xiao Bao, if she doesn't come over, then so be it. When we go back, someone will deal with her. Don't do anything, do you hear me? The Jiang Wang clan was afraid that her son would do something. She might not believe that others had the ability, but if her son wanted to deal with a steward, it was too easy. Zhang Xiaobao unwillingly picked up his chopsticks again and put something in his mouth. He said in a muffled voice, "Okay, I know." Date and Jujube were still in a state of surprise. As for Aunt Wang, they didn't care. She had beaten them many times. Now that they heard what Lady Qiao said to the young master, it seemed that this child was very scary as long as he made a move. What ability did a little kid have? Zhao and Jujube could not figure it out no matter how hard they thought about it. Looking at the expressions of the others, it seemed to be true. No one doubted it. What could he do? Jujube, go back and tell Steward Wang that young Master Zhang has said that she doesn't need to come over. Go back and find someone to send over your indenture contracts. The two of you can stay in Zhuangzi. Then go look for Qiuju, whom you saw just now, and ask her to teach you the rules of the courtyard. The Jiang Wang clan heaved a sigh of relief when she saw that her son had agreed. This precious son of hers was frightening when he did things. Yesterday, when they killed people with crossbows, some of the bailiffs were so scared that their legs were trembling, not to mention the other villagers and children. Only her son and daughter-in-law stood there, completely fine. In the end, they were taken away, but they were still celebrating happily. It could be said that they were calm, but it could also be said that these two children were the kind of people who killed without batting an eyelid. At the same time, she knew that her son was good to his family and would do everything possible to make his family safe. That Steward Wang had offended her, and with Xiao Bao's ability, he would not be able to find out the cause of her death. The Jiang Wang clan was sure of this. While she was happy to have such a good son, she was also worried for that Steward Wang. She hoped that she would leave quickly and not cause any more trouble. She had served the Wang family for decades, and it would not be good for her to die on her side. Zhang Xiaobao no longer wanted to deal with that Steward Wang. He was thinking about how to push his father up the ranks. Without strength, people would not respect you. To forge iron, one had to be strong. Zhao and Jujube held hands as they walked back. They did not walk back and forth in the room, but directly went outside. Now, the two of them were relieved. In the future, they could do things in Zhangzhe Zhuangzi. They could be like Qiuju, breaking plates and bowls, and not be beaten again. Also, the clothes in the inner courtyard of Zhuangzi were much better than what they wore. They also had a higher monthly allowance. As long as they did things properly, they would be fine. Actually, where was not a good job? If they were always afraid of making mistakes, they would not be able to do things smoothly. When the two of them returned, they happened to see Aunt Wang sitting there angrily. They have no rules at all. Where did they go? They didn't even say hello. When they come back, if we don't teach them a lesson, won't they turn the sky upside down? Zhao and Jujube were shocked. When they realized that they were no longer under her management, they puffed up their chests and walked over confidently. Steward Wang, Zhao, and I, what did you call me? Well, I see that the two of you are bold. Come here, see how I deal with you. When Steward Wang heard Jujube call him that, he became even angrier and shouted for the two of them to go over. Zhao and Jujube were not afraid at all. They directly walked over and stood in front of Steward Wang, looking down at him. Who said that servant girls did not have a temper? They were used to being bullied in the past. Today, they finally turned the tables. I told you to get out. Who asked you to call me that? Steward Wang gritted his teeth and said. He reached out to pinch the thighs of the two of them. Paw! With a sound, Zhao and Jujube slapped Steward Wang's hand away at the same time. They did it with a lot of strength. Steward Wang, we are now Miss Qiao's servant girls. In the future, we will be under the management of Zhangzhe Zhuangzi. Master wants us to tell you to quickly go back and have someone send our contract of servitude over. Also, you don't have to go over to pay your New Year greetings. Madam doesn't want to see you. Little Zhao was finally able to hold her head up high today. That slap just now had quite a bit of strength behind it. Even now, there were still a few bruises on her leg. Ever since they left home, on the way here, Steward Wang would always pinch her whenever he found a reason to do something. He even wanted to pinch her again. Steward Wang was beaten silly. When did the two servant girls dare to hit him? When he was not feeling well, he kept finding trouble with the two servant girls. When he heard Jujub's words, he finally understood that she had found a backing and was not afraid of him anymore. You want to take back the contract? Dream on. As long as I am alive, you can forget about leaving. That Zhang Zhong dares to let someone pass the message. Who does he think he is? Steward Wang's temper rose. Who do you think you are? If you are tired of living, I will send you on your way. Without waiting for Big Date and Little Date to speak, Li Sun had already started scolding. Just now, he had to go over and greet them as a junior. Could it be that a steward of the Wang family is more powerful than me? Even I have to listen to my father and treat the Zhang and Wang family's farmsteads well. I'm the number one in running errands for them. He's a master, but he's not a good person. What am I, an errand runner? Little Prince, I am not talking about you. You are. Steward Wang was really scared now. Yesterday, she saw the little prince's people shoot those people. Li Sun did not even look her in the eye as she said, "Go back quickly. Leave early in the morning tomorrow and do as my uncle Zhang says. Quickly get someone to deliver the contracts of their servitude. Otherwise, I will chase after the capital and twist your head off. Let's see if your family can protect you." Steward Wang only knew that the little prince was celebrating the new year here. She was just in time to help someone come to Zhangzhe Zhuangzi to make trouble. She did not expect the little prince to stand with the Zhang family. She looked at the two maidservants who slapped her just now and sighed. She nodded and said, "Little prince, don't worry. I will do as you say. I will go back early tomorrow morning and send Big Date and Jujub's things here. Don't listen to me. Listen to your son-in-law. He is the head of the Zhang family and a level 7 cloud cavalry officer." Li Sun did not give Steward Wang any face at all. "Yes, it is the son-in-law's. I will definitely listen." Steward Wang could only follow. She did not dare to refute. She could easily lose her life. Since the things were going to be given, Steward Wang turned to Big Date and Jujub. She squeezed out a sad expression and said, "Big Date, Jujub, I really don't want you to leave. It's just like raising a girl and marrying her off to another family. Come, Big Jujub, Small Jujub, Auntie has brought some money here. Keep it. Don't let anyone else know about it. In the future, when you do something wrong, take it out when you are punished. The punishment should be lighter. Don't be afraid of breaking things. Come, take it. Auntie won't be able to stay by your side to protect you in the future." As he spoke, Steward Wang picked out 2 pieces of broken silver, each weighing 1 coin, from his money pouch and stuffed them into Big Date and Jujub's hands. Big Date and Jujub took a step back at the same time, avoiding Steward Wang's hand. Jujub curled her lips and said, "We don't want your money. It's just that you always hit us. If Zhangzhe Zhuangzi breaks something, as long as you don't hurt anyone, you won't be punished. We also didn't do anything wrong. What's wrong with doing more? We just want the contract of selling ourselves. We don't want anything else. Don't send us that thin and small quilt that we use to sleep. Zhangzhe Zhuangzi has already prepared it for us. You definitely don't know, but Zhangzhe Zhuangzi washes clothes with hot water and hand oil. Unlike you, you just let us use cold water to wash outside. Our hands are already swollen from the cold, and we still have to do other chores. When we wash the dishes, we can't even hold it properly. How can we not hit you? You even rushed us so urgently. Don't even think about bullying us in the future. You offended Miss Xiao, and you didn't even get to see her face. Just wait for your punishment when you go back. The more Jujube spoke, the more wronged she felt. Her tears kept falling, and the people around her also felt sad. Steward Wang didn't expect the Zhang family to treat their servants like this. This had never happened before. He shook his head and said, "Impossible, unless Zhang Zhong is stupid." "Who are you talking about? I think you don't want to leave here alive. Sister Big Date, Sister Jujube, come with me. I'll tell you the rules. Tomorrow morning, you will go back to get your things. The two of you will stay in the same room. Don't be afraid. At night, there will be people patrolling and keeping watch." At this time, Choju came in from another door and happened to hear Steward Wang's words. She threatened him, and when she turned to Big Date and Jujube, she smiled and pulled them to another place. "How is this possible? If you treat them so well, won't they turn the sky upside down?" Steward Wang was still muttering. Chapter 262. The joyous New Year's Eve passed. When the sky brightened up again, those who had not slept the entire night were saved from paying their New Year's greetings. They had gathered together last night and had already paid their respects to each other. They had also given out all the New Year's money. There were also many candies and other things distributed by the Zhang family. They were all given to the children in Zhuangzi. This allowed the children to save money on candies. Each child was also given 500 firecrackers and a small bundle of incense for them to unwrap. Everyone returned to their own homes. The houses were temporarily left here. They would be used again after the 15th day of the first lunar month, which was also the Lunar New Year's Eve. Li Sun also left with his people and returned to Zhuangzi. When he left, he promised that he would return in 2 days. That old man, who was a minister, actually did not feel tired even after enduring for an entire night. Perhaps it was caused by the continuous performances, especially the crosstalk and skits that were interspersed with the singing and dancing performances. When one laughed, one's body no longer felt sleepy. When the sun rose, the old man arranged for someone to send Manager Wang away. Ever since Li Sun told her not to say anything wrong, she really did not say a word. She sat there, other than eating, she was thinking about things. Perhaps it was because the things that happened today had a huge impact on her. She also saw the enthusiasm of the people in the inner courtyard of the Zhang family and Wang family. They did not need anyone to care about them at all. When there was work to be done, they would rush to do it. Their faces were always full of joy. Looking at the clothes they were wearing, the hairpins on their heads, their fair skin, and the way they talked, no one would have thought that they were the servants of Zhuangzi. When Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned home, they fell asleep as soon as they hit the pillow. The two of them were tired. Housekeeper Zhang would come over to ask about something, and they had to take care of every family member. They would pick up the food, say something to make the family happy, and perform a few small acts. After a while, the child's body finally couldn't take it anymore. Big Zao and Jujube didn't feel sleepy at all. The two of them were in a state of excitement. Today, not only did they take revenge on Manager Wang, they also followed Lady Qiao here to do something. They slapped her and said a few words to vent their anger. In their eyes, this was the best revenge. Choju yawned as she led the two of them to the courtyard. She arranged a room for them in one of the courtyards where the maidservants lived. She then brought the two of them to the storeroom to get their things. They were given 3 sets of clothes and shoes, 2 sets of bedding and pillows, and 2 sets of tools for grooming and washing. They didn't have money, so the main family gave them a silver hairpin. When they had money, they would exchange it for something better. But this was already very good for the two of them. Hand oil and some gadgets for daily maintenance, as well as some handicrafts for decorating the room. When Choju gave the two of them some of the 4 treasures of the study, the two of them blinked and asked, "Did I get it wrong? These things should be for the master and the young master, right?" "That's right, the ones used by the master and the young master are better than the ones used by us. The ones we used were of average quality. They were bought from other places and were cheap. They were left behind from the last time we did an advertisement for Between the Clouds and the Water. We haven't used them since. It seems that the two of you can't read. In the future, if you want to learn how to do things in the courtyard, you have to at least be able to read, write, and keep accounts. Zhangzhi Zhuangzi is in the inner courtyard. In the future, we might send you out to do things. If you don't know how to do these things, how can we let you out? Other than learning these, you have to learn other things. Don't worry, there's time to learn, especially when you're on night watch. There's not much work in the courtyard usually, so when there's time, you have to hurry up and learn. The courtyard specially hired a teacher to teach us. If there's anything we don't understand, we can ask the teacher. If the teacher can't answer, then we can ask the steward, the master, and the madam. If the steward, the master, and the madam also can't answer, then it means that you're asking about something else. You can ask the young master and the young madam. Basically, the problem isn't a problem anymore. Choju explained to Dezeo and Jujube. The more they listened, the more surprised and happy they were. Many times, they dreamed that they could learn how to read, but when they woke up, it was still the same life. Now, the two of them felt that they were dreaming. After dreaming so much, they were afraid of dreaming. "Let's go, don't stand here in a daze. The two of you should rest first. I'll go back and sleep for a while. When I wake up in the afternoon, I have to do things. During the new year, we take turns to rest. Those who went to bed early last night have to get up and do things now." Choju could understand the two's behavior when they were together. There weren't many families that could let their servant girls learn these things. They didn't need to, unless it was the personal servant of a young lady. Everyone in the Zhang family and Wang family had to learn. They had to learn even if they didn't want to. Dezeo and Jujube went back to their room in a daze. After Choju told them that they couldn't go out and do things now, the two of them sat on the warm Kong bed and looked at each other. They didn't know what to say. However, they understood that it was a blessing from their previous lives to be able to find such a master. They had to work hard in the future. After New Year's Eve, it was the 15th. During this time, the sound of firecrackers never stopped. The two Zhuangzi children could go to the grocery store every 3 days to get 500 firecrackers to play with. After all, Zhuangzi were in the business of making firecrackers. They didn't lack these things. It was the wish of all adults to let their children have a happy new year. On the 15th day of the first lunar month, the three Zhuangzi still discussed and decided to celebrate together. However, on the 13th day, Guingxi from the Gu family came to find them and wanted to join them. This time, it became 4 Zhuangzi together. Guingxi couldn't do anything about it. The pressure was too great. Zhang family and Li family's gathering on New Year's Eve made the Gu family's villagers very envious. They would talk about it whenever they had nothing to do. After Guingxi found out about it, he sighed at how rich the 3 families were. He had no choice but to think of a way to organize a gathering. Coincidentally, it was the 15th day of the first lunar month. This time, he would have to spend a lot of money. Seeing that the 3 Zhuangzi were going to be together again, he came to find them to discuss it. This way, they could save some money. After getting the approval of the 3 families, Guingxi trotted back to his own Zhuangzi. He immediately asked the people in the inner courtyard to go out and advertise. He also knew how to use this phrase now. He told the villagers that the lanterns on the 15th day of the first lunar month would be provided by the master family. Each family would have 1 lantern. As for new clothes, there was no need. They had already been given them during the new year. They couldn't wear them for 15 days and become old. There were also firecrackers. Like the lanterns, the Zhang family gave them to Guingxi at cost price. Guingxi didn't forget about the effect of the Zhang family's words last year at this time. He also asked people to light torches. On the 15th day of the 8th lunar month last year, there was a moon in the sky. According to the situation where clouds covered the moon on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month and the snow lit up the lanterns on the 15th day of the 1st lunar month, the 15th day of the 1st lunar month was a sunny day. They could see the stars. It should be a good day. After finishing all of this, Guingxi heaved a sigh of relief. He sat at the door and looked at the small bridge. He muttered, "I've been troubled by you all." Then he looked at the happy smiles on his zhuangzi and muttered again, "But it seems that I've taken out more, but I've actually earned more." On the 15th day of the 1st lunar month, the old man, who didn't know who the minister was, naturally brought his family to participate in the celebration. He was very satisfied with the Zhangjie zhuangzi. Other than walking around, he saw people with happy expressions on their faces. When everyone was happy, he was happy too. Kong, do you see this? This is the hearts of the people. What the Zhang family and the Wang family do is to win the hearts of the people. Other families don't dare to do what they do, but they can let the people eat and wear warm clothes. If you think of the people in your heart, the people will think of you. When the old man saw such a village, he said to his son beside him. Kong nodded. "Father, I understand. I will be a good official in the future. I won't be greedy for a single penny. I think of the people all day long." "Wrong. I don't want you to be such an official. Do you see County Magistrate Ching? Just be an official like him. You won't lack money, and you can also get a good reputation. The people under your rule will also live a good life." The old man had been an official for so many years. How could he not know which kind of official was the most popular? However, Jia County magistrates didn't understand. He was much worse than County Magistrate Ching. As long as he did things steadily and made Sanshui County further improve, he wouldn't lack money. He would also have political achievements. Why bother? "Father, County Magistrate Ching just got political achievements. They are greedy." Kong asked, puzzled. The old man said with a smile, "He doesn't covet the people's money. He covets Zhangjie zhuangzi's money. Do you know what he did in the capital? He visited the officials one by one, organized poetry gatherings, spread Zhang Zhong's poems every time, and invited people to banquets in big restaurants. Do you think he has so much money?" "Ah. So much money. I understand. It's the Zhang family who gave him the money." Kong understood now. As long as he had a relationship with some rich people in the local area, helped them do some small things, and then improved the lives of the local people, he would be a good official. The old man used the people's hearts of Zhangjie zhuangzi to teach his son. Night slowly came. When it was dark, torches were lit on the 4 zhuangzi. Countless lanterns were carried by people and gathered at the small bridge. Looking from the top of between the clouds and the water, it was very spectacular. "Let's go, Grandpa. Let's go down too." The old man's granddaughter saw so many lanterns and torches. She pulled her grandpa and walked out. The other family members followed behind. Zhang Xiaobao also had an activity this time. It was not the kind of activity where he stayed up all night. He made riddles for everyone to guess. Those who guessed correctly would be rewarded. In this way, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang's families in Zhuangzi had an advantage. After all, they had more people studying and had been studying for a longer time. Unless there was a miracle, they would win the most. The old man also guessed a few riddles and won a lantern and a small toy for his granddaughter. He didn't continue guessing and let others play. With his ability, guessing such a simple riddle would be bullying others. These riddles were prepared for the villagers. After the excitement, the crowd dispersed. They hung the lanterns under the eaves of their houses with joy and anticipation for the next day. Chapter 263. When Father Zhang left home, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan originally wanted to follow him, but Zhang Wang clan held them in her arms, so they had no choice but to give up. Madame Zhang had originally prepared pomegranate and another maidservant for Father Zhang to take care of him. In the end, Father Zhang refused and chose a few clever male servants to take care of him. Zhang Xiaobao also sent Erniu and Huzi out. One was in charge of small matters, and the other was in charge of protection. There were 4 carriages and 14 people. Including Father Zhang, there was a total of 19 people. There weren't many people, and the team wasn't big, but there were 30 horses. Of the 4 carriages, only one was for Father Zhang, and the other 3 were filled with all kinds of things. Father Zhang's own preparations were simple, only the 4 treasures of the study. Zhang Wang clan prepared a change of clothes and some convenient food. The rest was taken care of by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The weather was still cold, so they put ice in the carriages. There were venison, beef, and other things that weren't easy to preserve. They also specially arranged a chef from between the clouds and the water. Then there were the vegetables. There were still no vegetables, and it was almost time for them to run out. Other than cucumbers, which took up a little space, the other vegetables could be gathered together. The vegetables were not picked and brought back, but were brought together with the soil. A carriage was specially filled with cucumber seedlings. The selected seedlings were dug out, and the outside of the carriage was wrapped with some anti-cold things. Zhang Xiaobao told the people following them to take them out to dry every day. When they were drying, they had to remember to light a pot so that they wouldn't freeze to death. There were also the seedlings. They would probably eat until they reached the capital, so they had to pack some charcoal. These weren't all. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan taught the doctors a few massage methods to relieve fatigue. There were also some medicines, pots, pans, and bowls. The grains they brought were all the kind that could be used as seeds. Each grain was plump, and the steamed rice was delicious. Li Sun took out a few letters when Father Zhang was on the trip, and asked him to deliver the letters when he reached the prefecture. Zhang Xiaobao had already spent more than 40,000 taels of silver, just for the first place of the township tribute, the partnership with Li Sun, Zhangjie Zhuangzi's method of growing vegetables in winter, and the auspicious sign for the prefecture. Father Zhang's own standards were not bad. In the entire prefecture, Zhang Xiaobao used money to pave the way. In all the restaurants and inns, Father Zhang's poems were written by Father Zhang. In the capital and the surrounding areas, Father Zhang had basically infiltrated. In the capital, it was County Magistrate Qing who helped. In the other prefectures, he could only use money. Father Zhang traveled for half a month and finally arrived at the prefecture. He was originally going to deliver the letters according to Li Sun's instructions, but in the end, Li Sun's father directly went to find him and set up a banquet. Those who were supposed to deliver the letters also went. This saved a lot of trouble. The emperor's brother didn't say too much to Father Zhang. He only asked about Zhuangzi and how Li Sun was doing over there. Then, he got up and left. Naturally, there were other people accompanying him in the manor. Although it was only a short chat, Father Zhang's status suddenly changed. Among the thousands of people in the prefecture who were going to take the provincial examination, they had no chance of getting first place. No matter who graded the papers during the examination, Father Zhang was always first. Zhang Xiaobao had already given enough money to anyone who could help with this matter. In addition to money, he also gave out fungus and tremella. For those who had children at home, he dyed their roosters and other toys and gave them batches after batches. This examination tested 3 subjects and lasted for 3 days. After Father Zhang finished answering all of them, he began to rest in his family's restaurant in the prefecture, waiting for the results to be released. In the prefecture, the Zhang family only had one restaurant. Zhang Xiaobao had bought it in advance. The reason was that sleeping in other people's houses was not as comfortable as sleeping in one's own house. Today was the day of the release of the results. The other anxious people were waiting over there to see the results. Father Zhang sat in a room in the restaurant facing the place where the results were being released. Someone was in charge of looking at the window. As long as it was the first place at the top of the list, the word would be the biggest and could be seen from here. Father Zhang sat at the table and looked at the dishes in front of him. He also looked at the wine that Erniu had poured for him. Then, he looked at the crowded situation below. He didn't know what to feel. All of this was arranged by Zhang Xiaobao. Along the way, it was not as difficult as other people who were going to take the examination. It was simply a blessing. With his son's arrangements, he didn't have to worry. Everything was taken care of. He only had to take the examination in peace. Old Master, you drink. We are not in a hurry. Old Master will definitely be first. It's just that Old Master will be more tired when we reach the capital. Let's go there in advance. Old Master will participate in many poetry and wine parties. This little one will remember. Erniu put the dishes in front of Father Zhang. He took out a small book from his chest and flipped it open. It recorded all the steps, roughly who they would meet, how to deal with them, where to hold a wine party, what to eat according to the changes in the weather, what to wear, what to eat, what wine to use, and what to wear. The small book recorded all of these steps. Father Zhang looked at the book that his son and daughter-in-law had summarized. He knew that this was only a part. Erniu was in charge of this. When they reached the capital, there would be someone to take care of the other part. Thinking of his son and daughter-in-law waiting at home, and his parents, Father Zhang calmed down and stopped thinking about whether he could get first place this time. He decided that even if he didn't get first place, he would go to the capital to take the examination and become a jinshi. Along with the sound of the gong, the person holding the notice walked out. The students who were waiting to see the results rushed forward. The Yamen runners were like they were facing a great enemy. From time to time, they shouted for people to stand properly and not push blindly. When the notice was posted, the person guarding the window saw Father Zhang's name at a glance. He shouted happily, "Old Master, you got first place. Old Master, you are first. And, good. Then we will go to the capital tomorrow." Father Zhang was also very happy. However, he wasn't like the other students who went crazy as long as they were on the list. It seemed that everything was logical. He didn't know whether to complain that he didn't have that kind of excitement or to sigh at his son's ability. He said he would get first place and didn't want second place. The next day, Father Zhang and his group took a boat. This boat was also their family's. They left it by the river and didn't do anything. They just waited to send Father Zhang and his group to the capital. They walked along the Wei River, which was not too far from the capital. From the tributary, they entered the Chao Canal. There was no need to disembark. At this time, it was spring. The river water was almost melted, but it was a little cold. Even the carriages and other things were all on the boat. The boatman shouted a number and the boat began to move slowly, faster and faster. The boat was also equipped with small boats and life jackets made of bamboo. As long as there was danger, they could wear them. Because of the smooth water. The boat was very fast. It only took 7 days to reach the Chao Canal. In order to prevent seasickness, Zhang Xiaobao also prepared some ginger slices, mint, and dandelion roots. However, Father Zhang didn't get seasick and was in good health. When the boat arrived, it traveled in the Chao Canal for a distance and began to dock at the dock. There were always many people at the dock. Some were waiting to receive goods, while others were waiting to receive people. A group of people might have received the news in advance. They had been waiting here for 3 days, but they still didn't see a shadow. They were a little impatient, but they didn't dare to leave casually. Their eyes were fixed on the boats coming over. "Steward Wang, are you sure it will arrive in these few days?" There were 20 or so people waiting at the dock. They even brought 2 cars with them. One of them asked a woman who was older than the rest. This steward Wang was the one who rushed back from the Zhang family. When he came back, he had people send Jujube and Jujube's things to them. The Wang family had also considered this. It wasn't a big deal to send 2 servant girls to their daughter. Moreover, there was a noble person supporting them. They said it will be in these few days. Wait well. Don't weaken our Wang family's momentum. This time, let him see what the Wang family is like. He actually drove me back. With such a big lineup, she called out and the 2 carriages followed. While waiting, the boat slowly approached the shore. As soon as it stopped, someone set up a gangplank. With a whoosh, a carpet was spread out from the gangplank and extended directly to the dock. As soon as the carpet was spread out, the carpet carried by the people on this side was also spread out. It just happened to connect with the carpet on the other side. This end reached the door of a carriage. Under the protection of a group of people, Father Zhang came to the end of the gangplank. As soon as he appeared, more than 100 people on the shore saluted at the same time and shouted, "Welcome to the capital for the imperial examination, Master." Chapter 264. Last year, the old willows sprouted new branches, and the spring breeze blew across Chujiang Lake. Chang'an had not changed. 5 years later, it was not the same. Zhang Zhong stood on the boat and looked around. He was not in a hurry to get off the boat. He wanted to see if Chang'an had not changed after 5 years. Back then, he was a young man with a beautiful woman. If not for the chaos in the court, Chao would have been caught. 5 years later, he was here again with the same lofty spirit. He wanted to see who would dare to treat him coldly and who would be able to catch Chao. A gust of wind blew, bringing with it a slight chill in the spring. Zhang Zhong could not feel it. At this moment, he felt warm in his heart. He was no longer the Zhang Zhong of the past. He no longer had to worry about not having enough money. He no longer had to live in the temple to help others. Steward Wang did not feel cold at this moment. She was already frightened. What a big entourage. Just this boat alone could not get off without 20,000 taels of silver. She looked at the 12 luxurious carriages. The markings on the carriages represented 12 shops. 10 of them were only average. It wasn't small, but it wasn't big either. However, the other 2 were extraordinary. They were Savant's restaurant in the West Market and Complacent's restaurant in the East Market. When someone took over them last year, they were just 2 slightly better restaurants. Who would have thought that after taking over, everything changed? In just a few months, they became one of the top restaurants in Chang'an. The top scorer came out of the top scorer's restaurant. This was Zhang Zhong's restaurant. When did his family have such power in the capital? Steward Wang was still in shock. When he looked at Zhang Zhong again, he couldn't find the appearance of that down-and-out boy from back then. When the person behind him draped a thin sable cloak over him, he was really high-spirited. At this moment, Zhang Zhong, who felt the Chang'an of 5 years later, slowly walked up the gangplank with different feelings. With a swoosh, the people waiting at the dock extended 2 long bamboo poles wrapped in red silk onto the boat. The people on the boat reached out and grabbed them. Under the bamboo poles, there were small lanterns in the shape of goldfish. The 2 bamboo poles were at his waist, blocking both sides of Zhang Zhong, so he didn't have to worry about falling. Zhang Zhong slowly walked down the gangplank with his hands behind his back. This scene made the other people waiting at the docks raise their eyebrows one after another. They had never seen someone with such extravagance, especially those 2 bamboo poles. Who would have thought? It was really too amazing. Just 2 bamboo poles wrapped in silk, but the things they emitted were definitely not ordinary. Zhang Zhong also felt the gazes of others, and his eyes couldn't help but become moist. Before he came, his son had said, "I want my father to feel the glory of being in the center of thousands of people." Taking a deep breath, Zhang Zhong controlled his emotions. With a faint smile on his face, he walked down step by step. Apart from the sound of water splashing against the side of the ship, there was no other movement. Everyone was watching and guessing the identity of the person who came down. "Master, you have come all the way here. You are travel-worn, please change your clothes." Zhang Zhong had just arrived at the docks, and he hadn't walked 10 steps when the people waiting below shouted in unison again. Following the shouts, several clever women ran to Zhang Zhong with trays in their hands. Then more than a dozen people ran around holding the wide red silk cloth, surrounding Zhang Zhong in the middle. Other people could no longer see Zhang Zhong, who was surrounded. After only a few minutes, the surrounding silk cloth was removed, and Zhang Zhong, who had changed into purple clothes, appeared in front of everyone. "Wow!" A clamor rose. Those who were watching at the docks could no longer control themselves and let out a sound of admiration. They admired the person who changed his clothes and admired this kind of extravagance. Zhang Zhong also didn't expect his son to arrange so many things for him. He stood there, so excited that he didn't know what to do. Fortunately, there was someone to help him. Erniu, who was behind him, put the small book that he had just taken out into his arms and walked forward. "Master, please get in the carriage. Do you want to rest in the East Market or the West Market? Or do you want to eat in the West Market and rest in the East Market? Then let's go to the West Market to eat." Zhang Zhong knew that at this time, he absolutely could not show weakness. It was not easy for his son to create such a scene. He said this in a dignified manner. Under the shadow of the umbrella, he walked towards the carriage that was about 30 meters away. Countless pairs of eyes were watching. Whether it was envy or jealousy, they had to admit that this matter was done well. Why didn't anyone think of it before? Even the next ship could be like this. "Aunt Wang, what should we do? Let's go over." The person beside Steward Wang was anxious when he saw that the person who was to be picked up this time. He didn't want to wait for so many days in vain. Steward Wang was in a complicated mood now. Just now, he was hoping that Zhang Zhong would help the Wang family. At that time, he could take revenge. Who would have thought that the other party didn't need them at all and had already arranged for people to be picked up? Looking at the other party's fleet and the 2 carriages he brought, he didn't know what to do for a moment. Seeing that the other party was about to get in the carriage, Steward Wang finally calmed down and shouted, "Zhang. Young master, the Wang family is here to welcome you. A banquet has been set up in the manor. Please get in the carriage." Zhang Zhong turned his head and saw that the people from the Wang family had also come. Seeing that the person leading the way was actually Steward Wang, he immediately said, "This is a small matter, there's no need to trouble yourself." As soon as he finished speaking, someone placed a brocade stool under the carriage. Zhang Zhong stepped on it and entered the carriage. Before the fleet could move, another group of people came from the front. There were more than 30 yamen runners, escorting 2 carriages. Someone in the carriage shouted, "Is the person in front Brother Zhang? Anren is late, please forgive me." After this shout, the group got closer. Zhang Zhong poked his head out and knew who had come. He got out of the carriage and waited there. The people on the other side came over. As soon as they stopped, Qing Lingxiang jumped out of the carriage with a happy expression. He walked in front of Zhang Zhong and said, "Brother Yongqing, I didn't expect you to come so early. Fortunately, I rushed over. Otherwise, wouldn't I have missed it? Come, Brother Yongqing, follow me in. I've prepared a welcome banquet for you." Zhang Zhong was also happy. As soon as he arrived, he saw County Magistrate Qing. Oh, now it was Registrar Qing. He was one of them. He also wanted to get on the carriage sent by his family. He said to Erniu, "I'll go with Brother Anren. You wait and follow behind." Yes. Erniu agreed readily. He thought that County Magistrate Qing would only come after a day of rest. He didn't expect that he would directly come here to welcome them. With County Magistrate Qing here, there was no need for them. Qing Lingxiang held Zhang Zhong's sleeve and walked to the carriage that he had prepared for them. He didn't care about his other carriage. The 2 of them entered one after another. The yamen runners greeted them and the team moved forward. The motorcade that had been prepared behind them slowly followed behind. It wasn't until the 2 teams were more than 100 feet away that Steward Wang reacted and hurriedly chased after them. Steward Wang was anxious. If he didn't receive them today, how could he explain it to others when he returned? As he rushed, he also asked someone to quickly report back to the residence and tell the whole story. Zhang Zhong was taken away by the Registrar Qing. She couldn't snatch him away. Besides, she couldn't do it. They had more people. The morning flowers had bloomed and the green grass was showing. In Zhangjie Zhuangzi, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were lying on chairs with thick cushions. Each of them was reading a book. After a while, Wang Wan finished reading a page. She covered it with a bookmark and closed the book. She waited for Zhang Xiaobao. When Zhang Xiaobao also finished reading this page, he said, "Your father should have arrived, right? There's still some time before he comes back. In a few days, we will have to plant spring plowing. What should we plant?" "Yes, there's still a few days before the exams. After the exams, he can't come back immediately. If he is an official, we have to follow him. We want to be rich, but when we are rich, we have to suffer. This year, we won't plant wheat, we will plant rice. After the winter wheat is harvested, we will plant carrots. It's okay if we plant it later." Zhang Xiaobao saw that wheat was not as valuable as rice, so he didn't want to plant it. He didn't want to plant millet either. All the dry land was changed to paddy land. There was no shortage of water here. Wang Wan nodded, "I think so too. If we want to eat other things, we can just buy some. If we plant well, we can sell the seeds. Now, there is no county magistrate in the county. Everything is under the Registrar Qing and the county deputy. It's convenient to do things. I just don't know if they will send a new county magistrate. Who cares? As long as the new county magistrate is not like Jia Shan. We should take advantage of this time to do what we need to do. If my father is really sent out, we can't do it here. Let's go out and take a look." Zhang Xiaobao got down from the chair and followed Wang Wan. The 2 of them walked out. At this time, the farmers in Zhuangzi were busy. They had to dig up the manure in their houses and then put it together with the manure from the main house. They sprinkled the manure in the fields and then plowed. The paddy land in the past did not need to be plowed. According to the new method told by the main house, they only needed to apply some manure. Between the clouds and the water was not as lively as before. The minister really did not go back. He seemed to have handed in a report to the higher-ups. He stayed there all day, chatting with the farmers and walking around. He was living a leisurely life. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan prepared to look for him. After Zhang Xiaobao's father left, the two of them could only ask the Zhang Wang clan for the things they wanted to learn. The Zhang Wang clan knew a lot of things, but it was not suitable for Zhang Xiaobao to learn. Fortunately, the minister did not leave. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found a new teacher. Every day, they would learn for a while and come back to revise. If they did not understand something, they would write it down and ask the next day. At this time, it was almost noon. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went over. They could eat first and then start learning. When the two of them came to between the clouds and the water, the old man was fishing. They did not know if they could catch anything. Chapter 265. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan thought that Bai Shangshu was just trying to fish, but they didn't expect that he really wanted to catch fish. Hearing the old man's words, the two of them looked at the pond in the restaurant. They looked at each other and nodded. Wang Wan said to the old man, "Grandpa Bai, the waiter in our restaurant probably thought that no one would come to fish, so he fed the fish some food." After the fish finished eating, he went to rest. Those who didn't rest were still digesting the food. The old man looked up in realization and said, "That's right. After eating, there's nothing to do. The fish have nothing to do, and the people have nothing to do. It's the same for the people when they're full. That's right. After eating, they feel sleepy. They need to sleep for a while," Wang Wan said. The old man Weiwei nodded and said, "But there are still many people who haven't eaten, and many people who haven't worn warm clothes. Shouldn't the people who have eaten their fill and worn warm clothes help the people who haven't eaten their fill do something? Just like this fish, if they don't eat their fill, they'll be caught and die. After all, people aren't fish." This time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan understood. The old man was looking for an opportunity to teach them some things. It seemed that he wanted them to go back and tell others to help the people of Sanshui County. Needless to say, the two of them would do the same. Only in prosperous places could there be more consumption. With more demand, the docks would be able to make money. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he should say something. After thinking for a while, he said, "Grandpa Bai, I heard from my mother that when spring comes, we should fork out money to repair the river between Zhuangzi and Gu family's Zhuangzi. It will connect to Shaoluo Shui. In the future, slightly bigger boats will be able to come here. Clear the muddy areas in the middle. Even if there are no big boats, 3 or 4 small boats can go side by side. It's also convenient for small boats to stop at any time. When a big boat comes, it will go upstream and need to be pulled. The people around have goods, so they don't need to hire carts or carry them to other places to sell. They can just walk to the river. Everyone will have food to eat. My mother also said that the market in Zhuangzi will send boats to buy those people's goods. The price will also be set so that merchants from other places won't be cheated. If they are willing, they can put the same goods together. My family will help negotiate the price. At that time, we'll take half of the money. It will be cheaper than the intermediary in Luoshui's." Only then did the old man look at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan with a smile. He patted their heads and said, "I always knew that you two are smart, but I didn't expect that you two would know what I want to say with just one sentence. However, the fish in your restaurant's pond are full, but the fish outside haven't been eaten yet. With only a net blocking them, there won't be much food that can leak out." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at the Zhuangzi area of the Han family and the Zhuangzi area of the Yuan family at the same time. The two of them knew that the old man was talking about was there. During the new year, the people were taken away. Presumably, the family business would be ruined. If they looked for the people, they might be able to keep their lives. The bribe money would not be small. The two families were finished. After Jia Shan's family knew that Jia Shan was taken away, they also left the yamen and followed him to the capital. They wanted to ask someone to do something. The two Zhuangzi here naturally couldn't escape. If the main family was gone, what would happen to the village? Do you want us to take over the Zhuangzi? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan thought about it, but they didn't dare to agree. It would be strange if there were no problems. Therefore, they pretended not to know and turned their heads back to look at the old man with blank eyes. Ha 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 ha. The old man laughed, and his laughter became louder and louder. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Don't pretend to know nothing in front of me. I'm happy that you two are smart. It's better to teach smart children than stupid ones. I was able to read at the age of 6, and I became a jinsher. I don't know how to teach stupid children. It's just as you think. Your family has caused a lot of trouble for others. In the future, the two Zhuangzi will have to change owners. It's better to change them to your family. Maybe the people of Huayuan County will be able to live a better life like Sanshui County. Your family wants to build a restaurant here. You can't always rely on Li Sun to find people to come over. The two places aren't far from each other, and there's a river over there. As long as you get people to dig a channel, it will be connected to your side. My nephew from the Jing family has learned a lot at Little Luoshui. He's preparing to build a pier on that river. At that time, there will be a lot of people coming here. It just so happens that it's connected to the river between your family and the Gu family. It'll be more convenient to come and go. Isn't that right? No. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan shook their heads at the same time. That river was closer to the capital on the Wei River. It was almost half the distance. The reason why Little Luoshui's business was good was that it wasn't connected to the river. It was difficult to transport by land. Grandpa Bai, that nephew of yours is too much of a scammer. If he connects the river here, the business at Little Luoshui's pier will be much worse. He's counting on this place to make money. Don't let him build a pier. We're willing to let him join us. Wang Wan discussed and wanted to find someone to join them to maintain Zhuangzi's geographical advantage. Zhang Xiaobao fell into deep thought and didn't say anything else. The old man wasn't in a hurry. He rubbed Wang Wan's head and said, "Cuckoo, if you do this, your family will be fine. But what about the people? Is your family short of money now? Do you lack power?" "Yes. The money is all used for Xiao Bao's father's imperial examinations. How can we have power? Didn't county magistrate Wen come just like that? He brought 300 people to arrest us," Wang Wan said with certainty. Even though Zhang Xiaobao had opened so many shops with her in the capital, she was still not satisfied. The old man smiled again. "You can fool others, but you can't fool me." What did Xiaobao say? Hearing the old man's question, Zhang Xiaobao looked up and said, "Okay, let's connect it. But I have a request. My father must enter the top 3 this time. He can only be the top scorer or the third runner-up. He must be an official in a place near my family. It's best if it's Huayuan County. As long as my father enters the top 3 this time and is an official in Huayuan, my family can triple the income of the people in Huayuan and Sanshui. Your nephew will also earn a lot." "Oh. You can make the decision." The old man looked at Zhang Xiaobao and asked. "Ah. No, I'm just saying. I'll discuss it with my mother when I get back." Zhang Xiaobao naturally did not dare to say that he could make the decision. "Okay, then let's eat first." I'll tell you about Capital Wu's Fu later. Capital Wu is from Suzhou. At the end of the Han Dynasty, Sun Quan was from Jianye, also known as Wu. The old man also did not believe that the two children could make the decision, but he liked them. They were too smart and willing to learn. The most important thing was that they knew how to be filial to their elders. As long as they ate with their elders, they had to let their elders choose what they liked to eat first. They also had to help their elders pick the food. When they talked about earning money, they used the condition of obtaining an official title for their father in exchange. He wondered how the Zhang family and Wang family had produced such children. Whoever had such a child would be extremely fortunate. Thankfully, he had met them and his body had gotten much better. He wasn't like before, where he would get muddle-headed whenever he stayed around. If he were to properly guide the two children, he would be a great teacher as well. During the meal, the three of them were not on the first floor. It was close to the water and the humidity was too heavy. As they walked up the stairs, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan let the old man go first while they followed behind. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and moved her lips. Why did you agree? Little Luoshui's business will be snatched away. With another river, who would come to our place? I thought so too at the start. Later on, I understood that it would not be snatched away at all. The main river of Wei River has a lot of cargo. Some of the smaller businesses can't squeeze into the big boats. The big boats are more expensive, so they can only hire one boat. The speed of transportation can affect the value of the goods. When they are waiting for the other Shang family, it is actually a kind of money overhang. Only by circulating money can they earn money faster or lose money faster. Our river is small, even if we expand it, it will still be small. It is the same in the past. If they only use the smaller boats, their goods can be placed on the small boats. One boat or a few boats, they will leave as soon as they have the goods. This way. I understand. This way, we won't just be a warehouse here. We won't just be a place to consume a small amount of goods. We won't just exist as a middleman. The number of boats will increase by a few times or even dozens of times. We can form a fleet of small boats to earn money. We can also build auxiliary industries on both sides of the river. The more people there are, the more money we can earn. You acted like you were at a disadvantage just now, bad guy. Without waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to finish his explanation, Wang Wan already knew. Whether a place could prosper or not, it didn't depend on the specialties of the place. As long as it could exist as a transportation route, it would be impossible for it not to prosper. As long as a few sections of the road were opened up and the rivers were connected, it would become a new waterway. Zhang family and Wang family's restaurant in Zhuangzi just happened to block a section of the road in the middle of Sanshui County. Now, this place was under the control of the Zhang family and Wang family. Countless boats would pass by here. They just had to provide some services and they would be able to earn money. Zhang Xiaobao also thought of this and even went a level deeper. As expected, Wang Wan, who understood Zhang Xiaobao, said again when they were about to walk to the entrance of the restaurant, Xiaobao, it can't be that simple, right? Then it wouldn't be you, Zhang Xiaobao. Let's talk about it in the future. Let's eat first. A hasty person can't eat hot tofu. Yes, let them make a dish of tofu today. The braised food is a little salty. Let's make some big shrimps. Shrimp with tofu. Zhang Xiaobao was used to keeping secrets. When he talked about tofu, he wanted to eat tofu. Wang Wan didn't continue to ask. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao mention shrimp with tofu, she licked her lips and nodded. Between the clouds and the water had very few people now. Most of the scholars had gone to Beijing. In addition, it was the young master and young lady who came to eat, so the dishes were prepared very quickly. The three of them had just tasted 2 mouthfuls of the kimchi that was used to set the plates when the waiter served the hot dishes one by one. In fact, there weren't many dishes. There were only 6 dishes. There was also a chicken soup specially prepared for the old man. It was boiled with ginseng and several kinds of Chinese medicine. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also worried that the old man's health wasn't good. They thought of all kinds of ways to nourish him. After eating, they even accompanied him for a walk. In the morning, they also asked someone to take the old man to exercise. The old man looked at Zhang Xiaobao, put a big shrimp on his plate and sighed. Xiaobao, when you go back, tell your family. I will think of a way to do as you say. Chapter 266. The afternoon sun was warm, driving away the cold of spring. The clouds in the sky were leisurely, making people feel better. In front of the artificial lake between the clouds and the water, an old man and 4 young people sat together. From time to time, the sound of reciting could be heard. There was also the old man's deep voice explaining. Lil Red had nothing to do, so it drove Furry over with some ducks and geese. The surface of the lake reflected the wooden building and the ducks and geese. The old man closed the book and said to Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, Lu, and his granddaughter, "Okay, that's all for today. Go back and take a look. If there's anything you don't understand, come back next time." "Alright, Grandpa, bye. Let's go for a walk and eat something while we're at it." Xiaobao also closed his little notebook. He and Wang Wan had been taking notes the whole time so that they could slowly read it when they got back. "Grandpa, I don't understand what you're saying." The old man's granddaughter was a little anxious when she saw that everyone else seemed to have learned something, but she didn't understand at all. The old man patted his granddaughter's head and said, "Xin, don't be anxious. Take your time to learn. When I taught you before, you didn't learn. Now that you see others learning, you're anxious." Xin nodded. She looked at Lu and said, "I used to think that I was smart, but then I met Lu Lu knows so many things. If I don't learn now, I'll be done for. It's good that you know how to learn. There's still time. Let's go. Walk around with Grandpa." The old man stood up. Zhang Xiaobao and the others followed him out. Now, the corridor had been repaired and connected to the pavilion. Who said that they couldn't repair things in winter? As long as they were willing to spend money, they could still do it. Everyone walked out. Lu respectfully walked beside Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. She was no longer as thin and weak as she was when she first came here. She had grown taller and was carefree all day. She didn't have to take care of her younger brother. Zhuangzi had arranged for someone to take care of her. She only needed to study on time with the teacher who was specially invited for her. She only needed to eat, have fun, and sleep well. After Bai Shangshu came over, she followed a classmate. No matter what, Bai Shangshu was better than the teacher who was invited. He was full of talent. The 5 of them walked in the direction of the mountain. At this time, the grass had already drilled out of the soil, revealing tender green sprouts. It would grow up in a few days. From time to time, there would be little swallows flying back from the south, chirping as they swept across the sky. The house that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan lived in had a swallow's nest. It was in the lattice above the door frame, and there was a small hole on the side that was connected to the outside for the convenience of the swallows. Otherwise, the swallows would have to wait for someone to open the door before they could fly in and out. There were also swallows making nests under the eaves. When such people were happy, they envied the people who let the swallows into the house. Every time the weather was hot, they would see people sitting at the door with the door open and watch the swallows enter and leave. They would hope that the swallows under the eaves could also enter. The group walked up the mountain. Lu Er and Xan Air skipped around the old man. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were much more stable. They followed step by step and looked at the fields beside them from time to time. It was a scene of prosperity. When the 5 of them saw that they had reached the foot of the mountain, 2 people from the protection team finally came to accompany them. When they saw them, they thought that they would turn back. They didn't expect that the 5 of them would want to go up the mountain. Naturally, they had to send people to protect them. I heard that there's a spring in this mountain. It's not small, is it? The old man looked at the mountain in front of him and asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao replied with certainty, yes, there are a few springs. That one is the biggest and is used to raise things. I don't know if the prawns and crabs will be so stupid that they don't know how to drill into the hole in the winter. After the spring plowing is over, I'll get someone to build a pavilion there. During summer, when people come here to play, we can go over and take a look. The old man narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. He asked, the place where the animals are raised in the mountain is not under your 2 families' control, right? It's not under their control. If someone wants to take it, let them do it. My mother said that now is the time to take advantage of them. The old man was already used to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's intelligence. Zhang Xiaobao didn't hide much when he spoke, just like a little adult. The old man didn't say anything this time and continued to walk forward. After walking for half an hour, they stood at the top of the mountain. When they saw the pool of water below, the old man said, in the future, we will be neighbors. Give this land to me, 2,000 mu. I will retire and return to my hometown. This is a favor that the emperor can still give. Hearing the old man's words, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's eyes lit up. This was a good thing. There was one more person in Zhuangzi. Others would have to think carefully before they came to cause trouble. A retired person was not to be trifled with. If Li Sun grew up and got a fief, he would leave. Grandpa Bai, don't you want to go back to your hometown? If you want to live here, just tell me where you want to live, and I'll tell my family to build a house for you there. You can't live on the mountain, after all. When there's production in your land, we'll help you sell it and split the profits. Zhang Xiaobao looked around, wanting to find a suitable place to live and build a house for the old man. The old man laughed, you little child, why should I split the output in my land with you? Who asked you to raise them? I will just treat them as wild prawns and crabs. And I will send someone to guard them when I go back later, in case someone steals them and throws them into the pond. Zhang Xiaobao looked serious and stared hard at the pool below. He said, Grandpa Bai, there is no need to trouble your people. I can help. But this place to block the water was built by my family. How about this, when Grandpa Bai sells the prawns and crabs to my family will find a way to sell them. Grandpa Bai, this will save you a lot of trouble. Zhang Xiaobao knew that the old man was joking with them, so he was willing to chat with the old man. How much money could the prawns and crabs have? He didn't care, and the old man didn't care either. A gust of wind came out. The old man took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. He asked, then tell me, where should I sell them? Grandpa Bai, you promised to help my father, right? Zhang Xiaobao didn't answer. Instead, he asked a question in return. I promised. Why would I lie to a child like you? Hee, tell me quickly. If I let you sell them, where will you sell them? The old man was stunned when he heard Zhang Xiaobao's words. He didn't know what selling prawns and crabs had to do with his father's imperial examination. Zhang Xiaobao coughed and said, sell them to between the clouds and the water. Some of our family servants' transactions are settled separately, and they are also recorded separately. We can't take the things in the mountains and the water directly to the restaurant. The prawns and crabs here aren't that good. It's hard to make good dishes, so we can only make simple dishes and some green vegetables. We have to make at least 20 kinds of dishes, including cold dishes. The hot dishes are stir-fried in a big pot. One pot is enough for hundreds of people to eat. The prawns and crabs here are just right. If we stir-fry them in a big pot, the taste won't be as good as usual, right? Xiao Bao, between the clouds and the water, still wants to make money. The old man felt that Xiao Bao wasn't stupid. How could he come up with such an idea? Grandpa Bai, are you sure you want to help my father? Zhang Xiaobao asked again. I'm sure. Child, tell me quickly. Hee hee. Zhang Xiaobao made the old man so angry that he laughed. Zhang Xiaobao then said, these things are used to make box lunches. If we stir-fry them in advance, others will eat faster. There's no need to wait. Once Grandpa Bai's nephew's river is connected, then this side, Zhang Xiaobao told the old man what he had just said to Wang Wan. At first, the old man didn't think much of it, but as he listened, he was stunned. He helped Zhang Xiaobao's father with the condition that the Zhang family would suffer losses when they connected the river. From the looks of it, he didn't suffer any losses. He agreed to help Zhang Xiaobao, but he was the one who suffered losses. The big pot of rice was specially sold to the boatmen and those who weren't rich. It was faster to stir-fry dishes with a big pot, and one pot could produce a lot of food. That way, they could earn half a copper coin. After a long time, so many people would eat it, and it wouldn't be a small amount. Xiao Bao, did you come up with this idea? The old man asked. Yes, I'm the smartest. I know everything. Zhang Xiaobao puffed out his chest and answered. Child, don't lie to me. Did you and Cuckoo go back to Zhuangzi and have other people teach you? How could the old man believe him? No, definitely not. We're the smartest. Zhang Xiaobao denied. Good, smart. It's definitely not because there are other people who teach you these things. I'm not in a hurry. There will be a day when we meet. The old man was even more certain that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had other people teaching them. That person taught Zhang Xiaobao everything in this area. That was why Zhang Xiaobao could come up with this idea when they met. After a few days of observation, he found that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were smarter than Lu. They definitely weren't the kind of people who didn't use one corner and reverse 3 corners. As long as someone taught them something, they would be able to use it when they encountered similar situations. Thinking of the person teaching them behind the scenes, the old man sighed. Since they didn't want to meet, he could only wait. He patted Zhang Xiaobao's head and said, Little liar, you tricked me into helping you for free. Ha! Yes. Wang Wan made a sound on the other side and nodded vigorously. Then, she shook her head and said, You're a big liar. Ha ha ha. The old man laughed heartily. Zhang Xiaobao didn't care. So what if he was a liar? A liar who did things for the people was a good liar. He picked up a mushroom under a tree. It was a frozen mushroom. At this time, the frozen mushrooms just happened to be out. He pierced it with a straw stick and said, Grandpa Bai, your nephew also benefited a lot. Learn this. You can learn this too. Don't think that you can't make much money. I think you can make a penny. Making and selling boxed meals requires people and things. This way, the people who have nothing to do can have more income. They don't have to go through the trouble of taking out some of the locally produced things. The old man also thought of this point. It seemed that he really had to connect the river. It was a good thing for the people. Even if there were difficulties, he had to do it. Besides, there weren't any difficulties. Xiao Bao, Cuckoo, when you go back later, tell your families to hurry up and dig the river. The sooner you finish, the sooner you can do something for the people. As an old man, I can also do something for the court. Chapter 267. The old man only wanted to get things done as soon as possible, so he didn't plan to continue strolling around. He turned around and walked back with the 4 children and 2 protection teams. At this time, they were not in the imperial court, so there was no need to pretend to be steady. He told Xiaobao and Cuckoo to go home early so that they could start work early. Spring was busier, so there were people who didn't plow in spring. Therefore, on the way back, the old man said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, when you go back, ask your family to find those people who don't plow in spring. It's just a matter of spending more money. Although you can save money by using farmers, it takes too long. Xiaobao, I'll help your father. Okay, find people who don't have land in Sanshui County. In fact, it won't save money. My family's farmers in Zhuangzi and Cuckoo's families really work. They don't pay, but the food they eat is more than the salary. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. Only then did the old man remember that when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family's farmers worked, the main family provided food, and it was all good food. It was better than what ordinary people ate in the small restaurant. It took them less than an hour to come, so it was even faster to go back. The old man's walking posture showed that he was in good health, so Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could only trot after him. Once back in Zhuangzi, the old man went to between the clouds and the water. He had to do what he promised. After writing a letter, he had someone send it out. He also had to write a letter to the emperor. He must be in the top 3. The Zhang family spent so much money to negotiate, so he couldn't be ranked low. The prefecture was the first village to pay tribute to the emperor. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan got home, they didn't have time to help Little Swallow catch insects and put them in her nest. She had caught a lot of insects yesterday. When they got up in the morning, they saw that she actually ate them. They thought that she wouldn't eat them. The 2 of them first came up with a plan, then began to issue orders. All the people in the inner courtyard were mobilized. Zhang Xiaobao was in charge of the materials, including stones, sand, tools, and so on. Wang Wan was in charge of the people. She found someone to inform the yamen runners, let the yamen put up a notice, and waited for people to come. She could then adjust the construction length and number of people in each section. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also treated this as a big matter. It was related to Zhang Xiaobao's father's ranking in the imperial examination. The more than 100 bailiffs that had been idling around could finally be put to good use. That was what Zhang Xiaobao had originally planned. Otherwise, he would not have asked the yamen to recruit so many people. The bailiff's task was to patrol the river. They would use small boats to patrol the river. They would have to wait until the weather was slightly warmer before they practiced swimming. If they encountered anyone who fell into the water, they would have to be rescued. Zhang Xiaobao had also prepared some underwater entertainment. The bailiffs guarding this side received orders from the head of the Zhang family and rushed to the yamen at the speed of 600 miles per hour. Zhang Xiaobao asked someone to bring the account book and put the changed abacus in front of him. He flipped the account book with one hand, and the fingers of the other hand made shadows on the abacus. He had to know how much money he had. Just as Wang Wan said, he was going to make a fleet. He did not want a big ship, but a small ship. He did not want to go too far. He only received and delivered goods on this section of the waterway in Sanshui County. This way, he would not offend people, and outsiders would not be able to interfere. There was no such thing as road maintenance fees here. Passing ships could not be charged, so he could only share some of the money with them. One was in charge of financial operations, while the other was in charge of military command. When the two of them worked together with full strength, their efficiency was displayed in front of people the next day. Zhang Xiaobao collected 23,000 strings of money and silk from various places and had already distributed it to each section of the waterway. They would be paid for every day of work they did. They would first expand the river and clear the silt. Those who bought stones and sand had already been sent out, and those who were nearby were in the process of transporting them. Wang Wan brought more than 2,000 people. Not only did people from Sanshui County come, but people from several neighboring counties also came. Before dawn, these people who were woken up last night and heard the news had already set off. Those who were nearby had already arrived and were eating the food prepared by Zhuangzi. The Yamen of Sanshui County sent out 400 bailiffs to change their clothes and take up tools to help with the work. After all, the matter of repairing the river was not related to the Zhang family and Wang family. In order to make these people work harder, the Yamen considered those who came to do the work as servants of the imperial court. They would work for 20 days, and during this time, Zhangjie Zhuangzi would be in charge of their meals. After 20 days of work, they would not have to work for the rest of the year, let alone pay their wages. If they continued to work, they could ask the Zhang family for wages. If they worked for 25 days more, they would be exempted from transfer. If they worked for 30 days more, they would be exempted from rent and transfer. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao was up to no good again. He found some farmers who could not work in the fields. They were specifically responsible for cooking and boiling water. If they worked for a few more days, they would be exempted from rent and transfer. In addition, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family would be given food. No matter how much they collected this year, they would not have to hand in anything. Wang Wan did this for the benefit of her family. She did not say that Zhang Xiaobao was taking advantage of the loopholes of the government. In her words, cooking and boiling water were logistics, and it was more important. The child also wanted to go, but he was stopped by Zhang Xiaobao. The child did not have land, so why would he want to go? He should obediently stay at home and study. In a few days, like the imperial examinations, there would be exams. If he did not pass, he would have to wait for less toys, less snacks, and less time to play. Those who arrived first would work first. There was no chance to be lazy. Everyone would be assigned to work for a period of time. There would be more people watching. When the time came, the wages would be calculated according to this. If you were lazy, it would not be counted. You had contributed 20 days of work to the imperial court every year, let alone expect to be exempted from this and that. In terms of the food provided by the Zhang family, it was impossible for them to be like the farmers. They ate meat for every meal. If there was a little meat, they would eat sorghum rice mixed with water rice and salted beans. After eating, they would have energy and would be able to eat rice. Those who really worked could eat 3 bowls of rice. Old Minister Shangshu also wrote a letter to his nephew, asking him to send people to work. They were preparing to dig through the river before the summer rain became heavy. The pier also had to be built. This spring was destined to be busy. Those who were not plowing in the spring were all working around Sanshui County. There was still a section of the river in Xiaoyuoshui that needed to be dug out. Every day, Zhang Xiaobao would find some time to settle the accounts. Every loan, the accounts were clear, and the income and expenses could be easily calculated. Now, there was no need to send money to the capital. As long as the money earned there was recorded in the accounts, he could directly use it to build connections with his father and organize some poetry gatherings. The 2 famous restaurants in the eastern and western markets were owned by his family, so he could save money by arranging them a few times. On the 5th day of work, 2 guests came to Zhangjie Zhuangzi. People from the Han family and the Yuan family had arrived. They wanted to sell Zhuangzi to the Zhang family. Zhang Wang clan personally went to receive them. After a discussion, the two zhuangzi were not sold at a high price. They were in urgent need of money. If they sold zhuangzi to someone else, the other party would not want it. They were afraid of getting involved. The head of the family was still in the capital waiting to be sentenced. Who would dare to buy their zhuangzi at this time? Could it be an accomplice? Only Zhangjie zhuangzi would not be suspected. Therefore, when the two families had no one to turn to for help, they went to Zhangjie zhuangzi. They hoped that Zhangjie zhuangzi would buy the zhuangzi. It would be even better if he could help to intercede. This was just a thought. Not to mention that this matter was done by the little prince, and the Zhang family could not interfere. Even if they could, they would not interfere. If you want to take my family back, I will help you to intercede. Isn't that despicable? It is not in line with Zhang Xiaobao's character of repaying kindness with kindness and taking revenge with revenge. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan hid behind the screen and listened to Jiang Wang clan's conversation. Perhaps they knew that the head of the Zhang family was now Jiang Wang clans. The two people who came were also women. They were Dr. Han and Yuan Ilong's first madam. They could not say anything about concubines. Sister Zhang, this time you must help us. Without the head of the family, how can we live? It's all that Jia Shan's fault. He lied to my husband to deal with you. In fact, my husband didn't want to go at all. But later, Jia Shan found county magistrate Wen. Our family is in Huayuan County. How can we not come? Madame Han cried and said. She was much older than Jiang Wang clan, but she also called her sister. Madame Yuan, who was beside her, also said, Sister Zhang family, we know that we are wrong this time, but our husband's crime does not deserve to die. We beg you to help us and say something to that marquis. We will never forget your great kindness. In our next life, we will repay your kindness even if we have to work like a cow or a horse. Zhang Xiaobao, who was behind the screen, curled his lips and moved his lips. If we have to work like a cow or a horse in our next life, where can we find you in our next life? Why don't you say it in this life? Just give the two zhuangzi to my family for free, and I will intercede for him. Wang Wan nodded. You're not sincere. Jiang Wang clan also showed a sad expression. Her eyes were red, and she picked up a handkerchief to wipe her tears. She said, I, as your elder sister, know about your suffering. At that time, I only wanted to drive them back, but the Marquis was also there. Without saying anything, he ordered us to kill them. I have nightmares every day. A few days ago, when the Marquis was still there, I told him to let them go. Who knew that although the Marquis is young, he would not listen to other people's advice? I also didn't dare to say too much. In case the Marquis was angered, the Zhang family would be finished. Sisters, why don't you think of other ways? The two people who came knew that this would happen, but this was not their purpose. Madame Han immediately said, actually, it's not that there are no other ways, but we don't have enough money. We gave the Jia County magistrates 10,000 strings of coins, and the family gave us 20,000 strings of coins. We don't have any more money. Therefore, we want to sell the 6,000 mu of zhuangzi, but no one wants to buy it. Sister, why don't you buy it? With the money, we can continue to work in the capital. My family has more than 6,500 mu. We won't count the extra. We will only sell it to you for 6,500 mu. Sister, what do you think? Madame Yuan also listed her family's land. The two families had a lot of land, and together, they had more land than the Zhang family and Wang family. Chapter 268. Elder sister from the Zhang family, I have 6,000 mu of land. Most of the land is of the highest quality. Based on the current price, it's more than 5 taels per mu. Elder sister, why don't we calculate based on 5 taels per moo? There's not a lot of land, so 30,000 taels should be enough. Mrs. Han was counting the money and raised 3 of her fingers. Mrs. Yuan, who was beside her, also said, my family has slightly more land. Why don't we also calculate based on 5 taels of silver? That's 6,000 mu of land, 60,000 taels of silver. Madame Zhang calculated that her family didn't seem to be able to take out so much money, so she used it all, so she negotiated and said, the price is indeed not high, but it's not low either. How about this, give me a few months, and I'll give you the money then. Elder sister from the Zhang family, we can bear with it. Our husband can't wait any longer. We're not selling the land for nothing, we're trying to save our husband. Mrs. Han said as she started crying again. Jiang Wang clan finally reacted. She just wanted to buy the land, so she cried for a while and said, younger sisters, to be honest, elder sister's family doesn't have that much money. Our husband is going to take the exam, which part of him doesn't need money? We've already spent 100,000 taels of silver, and we still don't know what the result will be. Younger sisters, you should look for other families. Jiang Wang clan was telling the truth, but they didn't believe her. There were so many prescriptions, and the entire peer of Xiao Luo Shui. How could they not have enough money? Why would they spend so much money just to take the exam? They didn't know that the Zhang family was preparing to get the first 3 places. Elder sister, we really can't find anyone to help us. How about this, elder sister, give each of us 20,000 taels first, and give us the rest after a few days. Mrs. Yuan suggested. Give them 40,000 taels first. Jiang Wang clan began to calculate, but they didn't have 40,000 taels. At the same time, she didn't want to buy the land so expensive. According to the current price, it was indeed as what the 2 of them said. But the situation was different now. No one dared to buy the land from the 2 families, only the Zhang family dared to do this. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also thinking about whether to buy it or not. If they bought it, they could still get some money. It was just that the price was a little high. If they didn't buy it, they should quickly reject it. If they bought it, it would delay the spring plowing, which would be troublesome. Where can we get the money? Wang Wan was also tempted. With so much land, when the river was built, it would be more valuable. She asked Zhang Xiaobao. Without waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to reply, she said, we can pawn the things in exchange for money. We can pawn a lot of things here. But you have to pay interest. I won't do that kind of thing. Money is not a problem. The main thing is that they are selling it too expensive, so we have to lower the price. I think they have given enough money, but they don't dare to continue to stay in Huayuan County. They are afraid that Li Sun will also be here and will find trouble with them in the future. Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to pawn the things in exchange for money. It wasn't like before, where he could use some tricks to get the money. He didn't want to do that now. Who knew what kind of people were behind the pawn shop? It was easy to scheme once, but what about in the future? Then let's wait. This time, your mother won't agree directly. We can discuss it with your mother. Wang Wan believed in Zhang Xiaobao's ability. She really wanted to get money. Now that she had the capital, as long as he tried to disturb the balance, she would get the money. As expected, Jiang Wang clan didn't agree directly. She said to the 2 sisters, Sisters, I will discuss it with my father-in-law. I will look for you later. You should go back and wait. Jiang Wang clan wanted to ask her son what to do. The main thing was that she didn't have enough money. Since she had enough money, she had to buy it. With Zhangzhi Zhuangzi's farming skills, it was already a good deal to buy it. Mrs. Han and Mrs. Yuan didn't think so. They thought that the other party didn't want to buy it. Immediately, Mrs. Han said, Sister, we can wait here for a while. Sister, you can go and ask. That's right, elder sister. This round trip will take a lot of time. We really can't wait any longer. Madame Yuan also echoed. Okay. Then you two sisters can go to the room next door to rest for a while. I will go and ask now. Jiang Wang Clan said. She led the two sisters out and arranged them to a room next door. When she turned back, she saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walking to the front from behind the screen. Xiaobao, you and Cuckoo heard what we said just now. Do you want to buy it or not? If we buy it, we don't have enough money. If we don't buy it, it will be a pity that the land will be taken away by others in the end. Jiang Wang Clan sat on a chair and hugged Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Mother, we will buy it. But the price is too high. At most, we can give them 50,000 taels. 60,000 taels is definitely not enough. We have wasted our time. Zhang Xiaobao gave a figure. What about the money? Jiang Wang Clan didn't have the ability to make money. She could only rely on her son. I will think of a way to get the money. I will give it to them in 3 days. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. Jiang Wang Clan was relieved. She didn't ask her son how he was going to get the money. She kissed her son and daughter-in-law on their cheeks and went to the room next door to talk with the two of them. This time, they were serious. They talked for 2 hours. Jiang Wang Clan first gave them a price of 40,000 taels. After bargaining back and forth, they settled on 49,672 taels and 5 coins. In the end, they negotiated for less than a tael. So long. Wang Wan didn't expect that the negotiation would be so difficult. Zhang Xiaobao agreed with his mother's idea. This is the right way. After the negotiation, let the other party feel that they didn't lose too much. Otherwise, if the other party gave a number and my mother directly agreed, the other party will definitely feel uncomfortable. If things go wrong, they will regret. What about the money? Where are you going to get it? Wang Wan asked. Cooperation. Financing will be enough. We will spread the news about the business we are going to do and let other rich people join in. That way, we will have the money. Originally, we were going to cooperate. Controlling all the shares in a profitable business is not enough. Now, we can go with the flow. Zhang Xiaobao felt that Wang Wan's mind was in a dead end. Wang Wan just remembered that other than loans, there was also financing. She nodded and said, okay. Which business should we give away? We are not giving away anything now. We need to find a new business and let people invest in it. Zhang Xiaobao replied. Wang Wan couldn't think of any new business. She had already used everything she could. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao in confusion and asked, what business? Well, let me ask you, where are you going to buy meat? Zhang Xiaobao asked. Of course, I will go to the stall where I buy meat. Wang Wan replied. You are going to buy cloth. We don't have cloth in the market. I am going to the cloth store. You are going to buy rouge and face powder? I am going to the rouge shop. We don't have that in the market. You are going to buy jewelry. Okay, stop talking. Isn't it just opening a supermarket? Will it work here? Wang Wan understood after being asked a few times. She was worried that the supermarket couldn't develop here. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know whether it would work or not. He said, it should work. Think about it. When the river is connected, there will be more people coming and going. If you don't have anything on hand and want to buy something, you will have to look for a shop. Let's just open a supermarket here. Even if we don't make money in the end, we won't lose money. Besides, the money will be in. Li Sun is here now. Let's bring him along. If he joins, others will follow. Don't you think so? As long as we don't lose money in the end, the money will be in. They won't say anything. Zhang Xiaobao really couldn't judge whether the people here liked to spend money in the supermarket. Building a supermarket was just taking over the market. He just needed to change it and build a 3-story building. He would let Su Si and Ergo manage it. He just needed to upgrade the market. Other people were taking money now. If he went to them directly, they might not agree. He just needed to pull Li Sun in. If the relatives of the emperor dared to take money, others would naturally dare to too. They would think that Zhangjie Zhuangzi wouldn't dare to cheat Li Sun. Wang Wan was also thinking about this matter. The supermarket should be able to make money. Other than ordinary people, there were also some businessmen and people who ate in the restaurants. When people spend money, they tend to have a tendency to buy everything else. At most, it would be like what Xiao Bao said. They won't lose money. They just need to make a little profit. The prices of the various items would be slightly lower. If she saw such a place and had money, she would also go in to take a look. She would also buy something useful. After all, it was cheap. Thinking of cheap, Wang Wan asked again, "Does that mean the price of our goods will also be lower? Are you still thinking of charging an entrance fee?" "Impossible." "That's right. We can't charge an entrance fee, but we can make the goods cheaper. The more we buy, the cheaper it will be. We have a place here, and we have a warehouse. It's just a stockpile of goods. Furthermore, we are not the only ones who have money. Moreover, there is another advantage to stockpiling goods here. As long as the goods are not easy to break, and the price is slightly higher, we can sell them to others. It's also good to be close to the capital." Zhang Xiaobao could only analyze it this way. He didn't have time to do market research. He only had 3 days, and he had to raise enough money. It was a risk. Wang Wan also knew about this situation. She supported him and said, "Then let's give it a try. Go and find Li Sun. He will definitely join. We have to build a large scale. Otherwise, we won't be able to raise so much money. 50,000 taels of silver, how large is the scale? Of course, we have to build a large scale. Our family doesn't have that much space, and we don't have that kind of scale. Moreover, if we build a large scale, when will we be able to recoup the cost? But we can use a chain method to do it. We can build a supermarket in the most prosperous places around here, as well as the capital. We have to let the people who buy things in the supermarket treat this kind of behavior as a fashion. That's enough. It's just like when people ate some fast food 100 years ago. Chapter 269. Li Sun didn't have much to do these days. He went back to the province and came back after 2 days. He felt more comfortable in Zhuangzi, mainly because he didn't have to worry about being watched when he was doing things. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sent people to look for him, but Li Sun came without saying anything. He only brought 4 guards and stayed at the entrance of the Zhang mansion. "Young Master Li, this time I asked you to come here to ask if you are willing to earn more money. If you are, we can discuss it. If you are not, then we can just have a meal together." Zhang Xiaobao went straight to the point. Li Sun did not know why Zhang Xiaobao was so straightforward with his words. Usually, he would have to go around a few rounds before he could say what he wanted to say. Naturally, Li Sun thought that Zhang Xiaobao was taught by some expert. Now that he heard that there was another way to earn money, he immediately agreed, "Okay, what kind of business? Count me in. I like to do business. It's stable and not ambitious." Li Sun was also speaking the truth this time. Even though he had a noble status, there were many things that he had to take precautions against. His father also didn't always do things in the prefecture. It was already good enough if he could spend half of his time here. Okay, come and look at this. Zhang Xiaobao knew that Li Sun would agree, so he pulled him to the table and spread out the blueprint that he and Wang Wan had just drawn. He told Li Sun how to open a supermarket, how to do it well, how much money it would make, what were the benefits, and so on. Li Sun listened while thinking. He felt that Zhang Xiaobao's idea was better than the grocery store. Moreover, the grocery store was big, so it shouldn't be wrong. Most importantly, he felt that this was the advice of an expert. The expert would never make mistakes. Earning a little money was easy. Before Zhang Xiaobao continued to tell him about the risks, he directly agreed, okay, this supermarket is good. How much is it? I will invest 50,000 taels, do you have it? You still have to invest your money in between the clouds and the water. Also, when the time comes, you'll get a share in the boxed lunches. You'll also get a share in the advertising of the surrounding riverbanks. All of these require money. Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to let Li Sun take all the money. What if he couldn't? So he gave Li Sun 2 benefits. Even if the supermarket didn't make as much money as he expected, Li Sun wouldn't say anything. When Li Sun heard that he had to take out so much money, he was in a dilemma. I don't have any. I only have a little more than 10,000 taels. What should I do? Are you going to pay for the rest? My family doesn't have that much money. I gave it all to my father. You can find someone else to help you. You know a lot of people. Find someone rich and we'll calculate everything together. Zhang Xiaobao advised Li Sun. You want to find someone else? Why don't we start a small one first? When I get my money back, we can make it bigger bit by bit. Li Sun wanted to keep it to himself. Zhang Xiaobao thought to himself, if I can wait, why would I ask you? Can't I do it myself? He could only persuade, let's open it once and make it big. That way, it will be easier to do things. You find a few people and invest the money first. I will start to do the details. I think it will take less than a month to build it. Li Sun was fooled this time. He didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao was in urgent need of money to buy those 2 pieces of land. After thinking for a while, he said, okay, wait here. I will find someone who is willing to join. When the time comes, we will open this supermarket in all parts of Tang. No, we will open it outside. Wait, find someone nearby first. I will give you a letter tomorrow. I will go back and make the arrangements. Li Sun was now thinking about money. When he heard this idea, he didn't care about anything else. He didn't eat and turned to leave. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sent him to the door. Then, they looked at each other and smiled at the same time. Li Sun was really efficient. He didn't know where he found the people. They didn't even come. They just wrote a contract and sent the money the next night. Li Sun and his own money had a total of more than 41,000 taels. There were silver, copper coins, and cloth. Zhang Xiaobao took out a part of the money for building the river. He had a total of 50,000 taels and gave it to his mother. Zhang Wang clan was in charge of signing the final contract. She knew that this was another business deal. She didn't know whether it was good or bad. She got the money first. She didn't have to worry about not being able to pay it back in the end. As long as the dock at Little Luoshui was delayed, it would be fine. At most, she could compensate the other party. She kissed Zhang Xiaobao's face hard. Zhang Wang clan said happily, okay, our family will have more land in the future. These are all for you. If you have a younger brother in the future, you have to give him some. You can't not give him anything. If you have a younger sister, you have to give her dowry. When a woman gets married, if she doesn't have a dowry, she won't be able to raise her head in her husband's family. Don't look at me like that. I'm different. My son is much better than other people's. He's 100 times better. Which family's child can get so much money? Jiang Wang clan was still happy the next day. She didn't need to go find the other two families. On the third day, Madame Han and Madame Yuan came over with the deeds and other contracts. The two families' pillars of support were gone. These deeds could only be handed over using their status. Nearly 50,000 taels of silver was pulled over 10 carriages. When Madame Han and Madame Yuan brought the money back, they had an expression that was hard to tell whether they were happy or sad. When they returned to Zhuangzi, they immediately tidied up and brought the servants who were willing to follow them to the capital. As for those who weren't willing, they just gave them some money and sent them away. They didn't plan to return to this place in the future. Zhang Wang touched the deeds and other documents in his hands and laughed from time to time. The river was still expanding. They were cleaning up the silt in the river. They didn't immediately repair the river bank. They wanted to wait until the river was more or less expanded. When they took over other people's land, there were old men who helped them solve the problem. They either compensated them or changed the location of the land. Naturally, the money was still paid by Zhang Xiaobao. The Yamen didn't have the money, so they paid in advance. When the time came, the Yamen would pay back the money that Zhang Xiaobao took out from the taxes collected. The people who worked could eat their fill and save food for their families. They could also work 20 days a year. When they worked more, they would be paid, or they could switch to rent-free work. Everyone worked hard. No one dared to slack off. If they were caught, they would lose everything. After Li Sun bought the land in Jiangzhou Zhuangzi, he came over the next day. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Tell that person that he's amazing." No wonder he was in such a hurry. He wanted to buy land. Why didn't he tell me first? I would have bought one too. Don't worry, I won't tell those people. Anyway, when the time comes, there will definitely be a supermarket. When the time comes, your family Xiao Luoshui's pier will be enough, right? Okay, I'll tell him. In fact, we really need to plan for some time, especially when the river is connected. We need to find a location. It's the same for other places. My family's work is in vain. We didn't take these things into account. What's wrong with wasting some time? If you want Zhuangzi, I'll sell you one. 6 taels of silver per mu. It's cheap. When the river is connected in the future, the land will be more valuable. Why don't you owe me first? When you have money, I'll pay you. Zhang Xiaobao didn't feel embarrassed at all. Li Sun quickly refused. No, I just need a Zhuangzi next to your house. I don't need anything else. When I'm older and have a fief, I may not have so much time to come over. At that time, you and Cuckoo will have to find me. Zhang Xiaobao knew Li Sun's purpose. It was all because of that master. He wanted to see the master and learn something, but he couldn't see him. Zhang Xiaobao felt that Li Sun was quite pitiful. After thinking for a while, he said, "I have something here. Take it and read it. It's about some things in this world. It's called nature. If you don't understand it, remember it in your heart. When I understand it, I'll tell you." Zhang Xiaobao took out a book about nature that didn't challenge the imperial power. It was written by Wang Wan. He just made a copy and was going to give it to the children in Zhuangzi. Now, he had to give it to Li Sun. He couldn't let him down. When Li Sun saw Zhang Xiaobao give him a book, his eyes opened wide and his face was full of excitement. He thought that this book was written by the master for Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao. Although he didn't see the master, it was worth it to see the same thing. He quickly took the book and gently stroked it with his hand. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, you're so kind. If you have any difficulties in the future, you can come to me. As long as you don't rebel, everything else is easy. I'll go back first. You can take your time to figure out that supermarket. Don't worry, no one is in a hurry. Li Sun wanted to go back and read it quickly, so he took the book and left. Zhang Xiaobao stood at the door and watched Li Sun leave under the protection of 4 guards. He muttered, I feel that I don't have the chance to be in that position. Living a relaxed life is actually a happy thing. Well, I won't be in that position either. I'm also happy. Early the next morning, Zhang Wang clan brought the housekeeper to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Xiaobao, let's go and see the new Zhuangzi. I don't know how they are doing. I think they are not as good as our families. There are more people, more land, and more rent. When your father finishes the imperial examination and becomes an official, let's see if he can still get some food. Zhang Wang clan said to Zhang Xiaobao. She knew that it was easy to take the imperial examination. Her husband was still talented. Moreover, she gave him so much money. There was a minister vouching for him, the Marquis's help, and county magistrate Chang's bribe. Who would dare to let her husband fail the imperial examination? Zhang Xiaobao also wanted to go and take a look. After all, they were going to be a family in the future. There were many villagers waiting for the new master to come over. He thought that these 2 days would not be good and they would be on tenterhooks. He held Wang Wan's hand and followed behind his mother and the housekeeper. There was a group of people protecting them. They first walked towards the Han family's Zhuangzi. They did not need to take a car. They just strolled slowly. Chapter 270. There were more than 10 people in the field, pouring the manure into the soil. All of them had their heads down, but they were working very slowly. Their clothes were also made of coarse hemp, and they moved the scythe in their hands. They did not look to the side, and after moving their hands a few times, they took 2 steps forward. The people from the Miao protection team also followed the Zhang Wang clan to the field. When they saw the way those people worked and the clothes they were wearing, they could not help but sigh. At the same time, they supported their Zhuangzi even more. This was the difference between them. Looking at the farmers in Zhuangzi, which one of them still wore coarse hemp? Everyone had at least 1 set of silk clothes. Yes, it was specially given by the master. They could understand why those people worked so slowly. When the master was gone, they were not treated well. Now that the new master was gone, they did not know what to face. If it were anyone else, they would not have the heart to work. The fact that they could work in the field showed that they were people who were attached to the land. When the Zhang Wang clan's people came closer, the people working realized that there were many people coming over. An old man in his 50s stopped what he was doing and narrowed his eyes. He carefully looked at the Zhang Wang clan's people and suddenly said, "So it's people from the Zhang family. What are they doing here?" At this time, Steward Zhang knew that it was time for him to step forward. He quickly walked up to a person and said loudly, "Is there anyone who works like you? When will you be able to get the land out? Also, in the future, this will be Zhangjie Zhuangzi's land. Zhangjie Zhuangzi does not need anything else but to grow rice. Don't make manure. Go and find the other farmers. The master's wife is here." When the farmer first heard Steward Zhang's words, he was stunned for a moment. He thought to himself, "Why do you care what I do?" But when he heard the latter part, he immediately stopped being stunned and showed a happy expression. He shouted loudly to the others. "Our Zhuangzi has been bought by the Zhang family. Let's go back and tell the others that the main family's madam is here." "That's great. We've been bought by the Zhang family. We'll have good days in the future. After this person shouted, he did not care about other people's reactions. He threw down the things in his hands and ran away. As he ran, he shouted at the other side of the house, "Our Zhuangzi was bought by the Zhang family. Our Zhuangzi was bought by the Zhang family." The rest of the people in the field didn't react until he was more than 100 feet away. They looked at the people of the Jiang Wang clan in disbelief. The old man trembled as he walked over. He wanted to get closer, but he was afraid that he smelled too bad, so he didn't dare to. He stood 20 feet away and asked, "What little nine said just now, is it true? We were bought by the Zhang family. Is Madam of the Zhang family here?" "Uncle, I didn't lie to you. Our family bought this land." "Uncle, you don't have to do this anymore. You have to do it again to grow rice." The Jiang Wang clan walked a few steps forward and said to the old man. The old man saw the clothes that the Jiang Wang clan was wearing and looked at the crowd. He knelt down with a thud and tears started to fall. "Madam, we've been waiting for you to come. We only knew that Zhuangzi had been sold, but we didn't know who bought it. The main family didn't tell us either. We were still thinking that it would be great if the Zhang family bought it. But then we remembered that the main family who sold it seemed to have a grudge against the Zhang family. It was impossible for them to sell Zhuangzi to the Zhang family. We were so anxious. We didn't expect that it was really the Zhang family who bought it." "All right, madam, don't worry. No one will work like this in the future. We will do our best. It's our good fortune to work for the Zhang family. We don't dare to not do our best. Madam, please stand back. I'm dirty." The old man cried and laughed as he spoke. After he finished speaking, he realized that he was too close to the madam of the main family. He was dirty and smelly, so he stood up and took a few steps back. Wei Wei of the Jiang Wang clan smiled and said, "Uncle, you're not dirty. In my eyes, people who work are not dirty. It's okay if your clothes are stained with dirt. It's fine as long as you change your clothes. I'll get someone to take your measurements in a while. The Zhang family's farmers must wear the same clothes. I'll also get someone to bring some rice and meat over. Everyone can have a good meal first. In the future, you must eat well. If you don't eat well, how can you have the strength to work? Uncle, lead us over there and see if there's anything we need to do in Zhuangzi. If there's anything we need to do, we can give it to you first." The old man knelt down again. This time, he wasn't the only one. When the others heard what the Jiang Wang clan said, they also knelt down. They knew what kind of life the farmers of the Zhang family and Wang family lived in Zhuangzi. Other than work, everything else was provided by the main family. The main family was rich and generous. They even dared to repair the 2 houses. They didn't expect that just 2 days after the change of main family, the main family would come over and give them things first. They didn't even have to do any work. It was a little tempting to ask for these things, but they couldn't refuse it. They really needed these things. Hurry up and get up. You can't do anything for the main family even if you kneel. And, in Zhuangzi and the Yuan family's houses, if you have children, you can also go to the school there to study. These 2 Zhuangzi won't be building a school. Walk a few more steps. Come early and return late. He wasn't afraid of dirtying his hands at all. Wang Wan did the same. She handed out the candy one by one. She even stuffed a candy ball into the mouth of a 1-year-old child who was being held by an older child. When the little child ate something sweet, she opened her arms and smiled at Wang Wan. It seemed that she wanted to be hugged by Wang Wan. Wang Wan estimated that she could hold the little child, so she reached out and took the little child from the older child's arms. The older child didn't dare to object. When he saw that his sister was in the hands of the young lady of the Wang family and didn't fall, he was relieved. He knew that the young lady of the Wang family was with the young master of the Zhang family all day long. These two families were no different from one family. They were both masters of their own accord. When the original farmers of the Han family saw that the young master of the Zhang family and the young lady of the Wang family didn't look down on their own children, they were all moved. They knew that they had found a good master. If the children could be like this, it meant that their parents had taught them well. They knew that the Han family used to have a 10-year-old child in Zhuangzi. She cleaned herself up well and wore good clothes. When she saw the children of the other farmers in Zhuangzi, she scolded them in disdain and continued to walk. Compared to the children of the Zhang and Wang families, she was far worse. She deserved to be caught. She still wants to fight with the Zhang family and Wang family. Just look at the little child and we'll know who's the winner. A farmer of the Han family spat and gritted his teeth. Chapter 271. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did a good job of easing the atmosphere, and also made the villagers recognize their master's family. If it was said that the villagers originally yearned for the Zhang family because of a good life, then Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's actions made the villagers see the Zhang family as family. Let's go to Zhuangzi and take a look, the Zhang Wang clan said as she looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were also rubbing in the dirt. The villagers immediately made a path for them and kept a certain distance from the Zhang Wang clan. They followed beside her, and from time to time, they would look at her with respect as they walked. The Han family's road in Zhuangzi was not repaired, and it was full of potholes. From time to time, they could even see a pile of feces on the road. This was absolutely impossible to see in the Zhang family and the Wang family's Zhuangzi. The two Zhuangzi's sanitation work was done well. Ever since they told the villagers, none of them would casually throw things on the road. There was also a special bag for feces placed behind the animals' buttocks, and from time to time, they would sprinkle lime on it to reduce the spread of diseases. Steward Zhang was in charge of this matter, and he said to the people beside him, after the spring plowing, fix the road properly. The roads in Zhangjia Zhuangzi must be wide and smooth. The villagers were happy when they heard this. The road was fixed, and they would be able to walk comfortably. With a good road in Zhuangzi, they would be able to boast about it when they went out. The group of people walked on the broken road and arrived in Zhuangzi. There were many thatched huts, and some of them were just casually rubbed out with mud. It was not hot yet, but they could already smell the stench. In the future, the latrines and houses will have to be repaired or built new ones. The master will be in charge of this, and you will have to do it yourselves. The latrines have to be covered and sprinkled with lime. This can't go on like this, Steward Zhang mentioned another matter. The villagers did not look unhappy at all, and they all nodded. In the future, they would have new houses, and it would be better if they were clean. In the past, they did not have time to take care of such things, and the master collected more rent, so they could only find work elsewhere to eat. Now, the master had changed. The Zhang family's ability was needless to say, they were better than others in growing rice. Even if the rice did not belong to the villagers in the future, they could still bring new rice. This year, Zhang and Wang were able to get 5 times more crops than usual in Zhuangzi. Along the way, the people who followed the Zhang family here did not see a decent house. Some of the houses did not even have paper to cover the windows, and directly nailed the windows with straw curtains. When they were halfway through the village, they saw a small courtyard with 3 chickens looking at them with their heads tilted. Steward Zhang spoke again. If there are people who are not busy at home, go over there tomorrow and bring the chickens back to raise them. The master will be in charge of the food they eat, but when the chickens grow up, a portion of the eggs they lay will have to be given to the master. When the chickens are killed, they will also belong to the master. The villagers nodded again. Wasn't it just helping to raise the chickens? When the time came, they could keep a portion of the eggs for themselves, and they would not have to feed the chickens themselves. The group continued to walk forward, and as they walked, they came to an area surrounded by a low wall. Standing outside the low wall and looking in, they saw a high wall about 300 feet away from the low wall. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know what the low wall was for. What's the use of this wall? Zhang Xiaobao asked a slightly older child. The wall of the master's house. The villagers are not allowed to go over this wall. After going in, if we continue to walk forward, we will reach the master's mansion, the child replied. Mansion. Good, Chao San Daoist. His rank is 2 ranks higher than my father's, rank 5. This is the mansion. Is he afraid of death? Why did he build a wall outside? Even if he did, he was still caught, right, Steward Zhang? Zhang Xiaobao did not want this wall to block people's hearts, so he shouted at Steward Zhang. Steward Zhang understood and immediately said, the low wall outside needs to be torn down. There are some bricks left to build the house. The Zhang family is not afraid of being harmed by the villagers. When you have nothing to do, you can go to the master's house for a stroll. If you need anything to take out, you can even help. The villagers nodded. This wall had already made their hearts cold. If it was not for the fact that they could not find another place to live, they would not want to stay in the Han family's zhuangzi. The children of the Zhang family and Wang family could play with the villagers, but the Han family treated them like animals. Why didn't the Zhang family come earlier? If they had come earlier, they would have had a better life. Why did they have to endure this? Mistress of the master's house, would you like to go in and take a look? The old man asked Zhang Wang clan. No, after the wall outside is torn down, we can all go in and take a look. If we feel that this house is not good, we can also tear it down and build a smaller house. That way, the people from the master's house will have a place to stay. Zhang Wang clan was a bit disgusted with this place. Most importantly, if she really kept this place, it would be too much. How could a 7th-ranked official live in a 5th-ranked official's house? Of course, the villagers were not comfortable with this. They all wanted to tear it down and build a new house for the master's house. After looking at this house, they continued to walk forward. There was a small hill on the other side. There were no trees on it. In fact, it was just a mound. After the mound, there was a piece of land that belonged to Zhangjie Zhuangzi. A group of people walked over and climbed up the mound. They found a few people standing on the other side of the mound. They were pointing and talking. Those people also saw them. A middle-aged man suddenly smiled and walked over. You are from the Zhang family, right? I am your neighbor over there. My surname is Liu, and the Han family took some of our land in Zhuangzi. It turns out that there are some thorns in the area between the 2 Zhuangzi. They cut the thorns and moved it forward a little. I heard that the master has changed, so we came over to take a look and decide on a new location. We don't want another family to take over another family's land. Ah! Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. Another neighbor. He just came over and he already said that the Han family took over their land in Zhuangzi and wanted to decide on a new location. How do you want to decide? Zhang Wang clan was expressionless and asked indifferently. It should be the mistress of the Zhang family, right? Don't misunderstand. We are not taking back the land that was taken over in the past. We all know about the Zhang family, so we don't dare to come over and cause trouble. We haven't lived long enough yet. Let's just go with the current location. The man surnamed Liu explained. Then let's decide. You guys decide first and let us know when the time comes. We will replant the thorns and plant them here. Zhang Wang clan saw that the other party was not here to take back the land, so she believed that the Han family took over the other party's land. There was not much land left, so they had to plant thorns. Okay, thank you so much, mistress of the Zhang family. The Zhang family's actions are indeed countermeasures. Don't worry, the Liu family will not take the initiative to provoke the Zhang family. Our two families will live in harmony. The man surnamed Liu said and left with his people. Wang Wan looked at the man's back as he left and asked Zhang Xiaobao, did he know that we are here and purposely came here to wait for us? His surname is Liu. Which family is he from? Who cares? Just like what he said, unless he's tired of living and comes looking for trouble. Our Zhang clan can kill all the way to the top, carrying a thick smell of blood. We kill chickens and ducks when we see chickens. Zhang Xiaobao did not care who the man surnamed Liu was, as long as his surname was not Li. Madame Zhang walked and looked around again. She felt that she could only wait and take good care of it in the future. She turned around and left under the respectful escort of the villagers. There was another village that she had to go over to take over today. She had to calm the villagers down and not delay the spring plowing. Before she left, she asked someone to measure the size of the villagers and make the same clothes for them to wear. This way, they could build up cohesion. She also asked some stronger people to follow them back to the main house to get things. Now that they had met, she had to let the villagers have a good meal. After walking for about an hour, they arrived at the Yuan family. The Yuan family seemed to be better than the Han family. At least, the villagers' clothes were better than the Han family's. They also did not have extra walls outside. The reaction of the villagers was similar to that of the Han family. They were all very excited. They knew in advance that the land was bought by the Zhang family. Although the original main house did not treat them any differently from the other main houses, they did not ask for rent and were not treated as badly as the Han family. However, they still felt that the Zhang family was better. They also yearned for a good life and hoped that their children could be educated. However, they did not hate the original main house as much. The houses that the Yuan clan's farmers lived in were also thatched cottages, but they were more orderly than the Han clan's. The roads were the same, full of potholes. Housekeeper Zhang still picked out a few problems and had to fix them in the future. He also measured their sizes and asked them to go back with some people to get rice, noodles, oil, and meat. They went to 2 farmsteads in a row and looked around. After a busy day, when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned home, they lay on the Kong bed and chatted. Xiaobao, we have a small river here. They seem to have one there too, but why is there no water? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao. Without water, it would be tiring to grow rice. How would I know? Let's go and see tomorrow. If someone deliberately blocked the river upstream, then don't blame me for not being polite. Zhang Xiaobao also saw the river today. Usually, there was a river flowing in Zhuangzi. Even if there was no river, one would be dug. Otherwise, there would be no way to grow crops. Wang Wan nodded and asked, then how will the 2 Zhuangzi develop in the future? Will they be like us and set up a restaurant? I haven't thought about it yet. A restaurant is definitely not suitable. But, we can think of other ways. There are no mountains there, so what can we do? Let me think about it. Let's go to between the clouds and the water and ask Grandpa Bai about the arrangements. We don't want to make any mistakes. Zhang Xiaobao was not worried about the development. There were many different development methods that could be used, or a slight modification would be able to change the appearance of the manor. The 2 of them did not care if it was dark or not. They found someone to light a lantern and walked over. When they reached between the clouds and the water, the old man was still fishing. When he heard Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's footsteps, he turned around and asked, why can't your fishing rod catch small fish? Chapter 272. The sky was dark and there were only a few lanterns hanging high in the sky. There were few people on the second floor. The old man admired the fish very much. At this time of the year, few people came to between the clouds and the water for dinner. The few who came all went to the second floor. Only the old man sat alone on the first floor where they could fish. A few more lanterns were specially lit for him. As soon as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived, the old man asked a question that made people daydream. Why could he only catch small fish? Wang Wan's first thought was that the old man was up to something again. The last time, it was because there were fish to eat and fish to eat. In the end, she and Xiaobao were so busy. What was the meaning of small fish and big fish? According to the correct theory, both Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could tell the old man that it was very simple. In order to let the old man fish, the fish had not been fed for many days. The few big fish were omnivorous. They could not eat anything else, so they ate small fish. Naturally, they would not bite the bait when they were full. The problem was, how could this old man, who could be educated at the age of 6 and become a jincher when he was 20 years old, ask such a simple question? Nothing. I just want to ask. Which one of you knows? The old man turned his head and continued to fish. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and reached a certain tacit agreement. Zhang Xiaobao said first, is it because the hook is small and the big fish do not eat when they see it? Is this small? The old man took out a 2-inch hook and asked without turning his head. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the big hook and wondered who the old man asked to make it. Unless the fish were sleepy and yawning, they would definitely not bite this kind of hook. At this time, Wang Wan also said, is it because the big fish has lived for many years and is a sly old fox that does not bite the bait? I am not young anymore. Am I a sly old fox? The old man took back the hook and put the bait again. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan stood behind the old man and nodded together. Do you nod your head? The old man seemed to know. No. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan denied at the same time. Oh, then this old man must have seen wrongly. When the water moves, the shadows from the lanterns behind you nod. This is nature. Where there is light, there is shadow. The back of light is darkness, isn't it? The old man still maintained his sitting posture. His voice was not soft, but it was just loud enough for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to hear. The two of them continued to talk nonsense. I've heard of this before. Man follows earth, earth follows heaven, heaven follows Tao, and Tao follows nature. Grandpa Bai, are you practicing metaphysics? What kind of metaphysics do I practice? I read a book called Nature, but there are many things in it that are not so clear. Some are simple and easy to understand at a glance, while some are more confusing the more I read. I don't know what's going on. What do you think? The old man finally revealed his purpose. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other. Traitor, Li Sun, that brat, spread the secret book. Wang Wan nodded. Grandpa Bai, you're right. Xiaobao and I have read it before, but we don't understand. What shadow? Xiaobao and I only know that the shadow is long in the morning and short in the afternoon. We picked it up when we went up the mountain to play. After that, we don't know where the messy writing went. That's right, that's right. Cuckoo is right. I don't understand it either. All I know is that the closer the lantern is, the bigger the shadow is, and the farther the shadow is, the smaller the shadow is. Xiaobao chimed in. At this time, the old man turned around and looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Seeing that they had the same expression, blinking their pure big eyes, and the same chubby little face, he laughed loudly, not caring if it would affect the people eating upstairs. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also laughed. After the old man laughed, he said, "Picked it up. You picked it up well, you picked it up well." The first one emphasized the word picked, while the second one emphasized the word good. After the old man finished speaking, he didn't wait for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to speak. He stood up, rubbed his legs, and walked upstairs. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Follow me, I'll teach you." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know what the old man had figured out, so they followed him in confusion. Suddenly, the surroundings became dark. Zhang Xiaobao looked over and saw that the shop assistant, who knew how to save, quickly blew out 4 lanterns, leaving only 4 lanterns there. He even smiled at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao nodded with satisfaction. "Good job," he saved 4 candles. Each person saved 4 candles. How many candles would that be? Who cares if he was a minister or not? He blew out the lanterns after he left. Fortunately, the minister didn't see it. Otherwise, he would have thrown you into the pond to feed the fish. The old man took Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan all the way to the room he had reserved, the kind that didn't cost money. He pointed to an object on the table and said to them, "This is the use of light. Come and see." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't need to use it to know what it was. It turned out to be a monocular, a very old kind that didn't have telescopic function. This old man, it seems that he usually looks leisurely, but in fact, he has done a lot of things. I gave him a theory, and he actually made a physical object. This crystal is not bad. Zhang Xiaobao's lips moved. Let's go and take a look. Can it be 5 times? I think it's enough. It's good if it can be 3 or 4 times. Wang Wan walked over. Grandpa Bai, what is this? Zhang Xiaobao's face was full of curiosity. It seemed that he wanted to touch the thing on the table, but didn't dare to. Is it a stick used to hit people? Wang Wan put her finger in her mouth and asked. Hee, come, Xiaobao, cuckoo, come here. Put this in front of your eyes and look at the pavilion. The old man smiled and pulled the 2 children to the window, then let the 2 children stand on the stool. He took the monocular and put it in front of one of Zhang Xiaobao's eyes. Zhang Xiaobao squinted his eyes to take a look. It was so pure, without any impurities. At least, it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. 2 pieces of crystal cost a lot of money. The hand holding the monocular extended 3 fingers, then 4 fingers, then 3 fingers. This was for Wang Wan to see. Grandpa Bai, why did you put the pavilion in front of us? Zhang Xiaobao asked happily. The old man didn't say anything and put the monocular in front of Wang Wan's eyes again. Wang Wan also estimated the distance. There was always a lantern in the pavilion at night, and there were also lanterns at intervals in the corridor. The hand holding the monocular made an okay gesture, meaning that it was indeed more than 3 times, but not 4 times. After the comparison finished, Wang Wan said, Grandpa Bai, with my other eye, it seems that the pavilion is much closer. There are about 3 times the distance between here and here. It's the same as what I saw with my other eye. What's this for? The old man took the monocular down and said excitedly to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, that's 3 times. Others can't see you, but you can see them. When marching and setting up a formation, it can change in the blink of an eye. A distance of hundreds of feet is not enough for the cavalry to charge once. You can move 1 step ahead and discover the enemy scouts 1 step ahead. Do you understand? The old man had reason to be excited. Such a thing seemed simple, but it was unusual to use. When 2 armies were facing each other, whoever discovered the other first would be able to make better arrangements. In a battle, whoever could more accurately determine the situation at a certain place would be able to mobilize the soldiers in reserve to rush over. A nature book meant for children to read actually contained such a powerful thing. Who exactly was behind Zhangzhe Zhuangzi? The old man couldn't figure it out. He hoped that he could find out from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. However, when he asked just now, Wang Wan insisted that she had picked it up. That person must have taught her not to let the children talk about it. If Li Sun didn't get along well with the two children, how could he have obtained this book? If Li Sun didn't come to ask him when he encountered something he didn't understand, how could he make this clairvoyance? What was the relationship between that person and the Zhang family and the Wang family? Did that person teach such good knowledge to the two children, or was that person like him, seeing that the two children were smart and prepared to teach them well? The old man's doubts came one after another. He couldn't figure out who the person behind this was and what his purpose was. He wanted to meet that person several times with his identity as a minister, but he was afraid that he would annoy that person. That kind of person didn't seem to care whether he was a minister or not. Perhaps it would be the same even if the emperor came. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that the old man didn't want them to answer. They stood there and didn't speak, waiting for the old man to break free from his thoughts. Looking at the old man, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that the old man was a good person. At least when he encountered something new, he would think of doing something for the country and the people. If they weren't too young, they could tell the old man about this matter. A telescope with a power of less than 4 times was just a child's play. The old man, who had experienced a lot, finally returned to reality. He stroked the telescope with his hand and said, "With this thing, it will be much easier to fight against the enemy in the future." Did you two pick up anything else? Zhang Xiaobao understood the old man's meaning and was willing to lead the old man astray, so he said, "Cuckoo and I didn't go up the mountain these days. We'll wait until we understand nature. When we have time, we'll go up the mountain and see if we can pick up anything. When the time comes, we'll definitely show it to Grandpa Bai. Okay, learn quickly. Learn nature quickly. In fact, I haven't learned everything. Let's learn together." The old man was waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to say something. It didn't matter who wrote the book, as long as he could get his hands on it. The handwriting on the book was clearly Zhang Xiaobao's. It didn't have any errors, it didn't have any strokes. Cuckoo was much better than Xiaobao. When the handwriting was written, other than the lack of wrist strength, it could be seen that there was something unique about it. If it weren't for Xiaobao's young age and diligent practice, one would think that he was a person who couldn't practice calligraphy. Thinking of this, the old man said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, in the future, when you pick up something, don't copy it again. Show it to me first. You need to practice your handwriting more. It's much worse than Wang Wan's. Grandpa Bai, Xiaobao's handwriting is actually not bad. You haven't seen him write for the first time. You may think that his handwriting isn't good, but that's already his best handwriting. Some people say that as long as a person keeps working hard and keeps improving, he will definitely do great things." Wang Wan defended Zhang Xiaobao from the side. "Today's weather isn't good. I noticed it when I woke up. Therefore, there might not be 8 chapters today. I'll try my best to write as much as I can." Chapter 273. As she spoke, Wang Wan opened up her little sunny purse that she didn't allow anyone to touch. She took out a piece of paper with words written on it and handed it to the old man. "Grandpa Bai, look. This is Xiao Bao's first handwriting. Isn't it much better compared to back then?" The old man didn't expect that Wang Wan would speak up for Zhang Xiaobao at this moment. He took the piece of paper and looked at it. His brows furrowed and his mouth cracked open. How was this writing? What kind of nonsense was this? He then thought about how Zhang Xiaobao's natural handwriting and looked at Zhang Xiaobao's age. The old man was finally moved. How much effort did he have to put in to achieve this? In this aspect, Zhang Xiaobao clearly didn't have Wang Wan's talent. Back then, when they were chatting, "You are the wind and I am the sand," Wang Wan's talent was revealed. When he saw that sentence and those words, he decided to come over to take a look. When he arrived, he realized that Wang Wan wasn't only good at handwriting and sentence writing. More importantly, she knew how to stand behind Zhang Xiaobao at such a young age, just like that lass from the Wang clan, Wang Qiaoer. When she walked, she would back off a little. When she spoke, she would try her best to let Zhang Xiaobao stand in front. As long as Zhang Xiaobao did something wrong or said something wrong, she would stand out to help him. And Zhang Xiaobao had always stood in front. Regardless of whether it was when others were reprimanding or when they were playing, the position he stood in would always provide Wang Wan with a certain amount of protection. It was the same even when he was teaching. Wang Wan's position would always be the easiest to leave, while Zhang Xiaobao's position would always block others from getting close to Wang Wan. These two children were amazing. They were like left and right hands, one in front and one behind, complementing each other. They didn't have any deliberate movements and everything was so natural. It was a kind of habit. They were already like this at such a young age. When they grew up, who could compare to the two of them? Grandpa Bai, did you notice that Xiao Bao's handwriting is getting better and better? Xiao Bao has never given up and has always been working hard. Grandpa Bai, Xiao Bao's, that's mine, how's the head of the Zhang family doing? Wang Wan continued when the old man was sighing in his heart. She wanted to say Zhang Xiaobao's father, but she felt that it was a little disrespectful. She wanted to say her father-in-law, but she was too embarrassed to say it. The old man looked at Wang Wan, who was still standing slightly behind Zhang Xiaobao. Then, he looked at Zhang Xiaobao, who could move at any time. He laughed and said, "Cuckoo, don't worry. With a daughter-in-law like you and a son like Xiaobao, how can Zhang Zhong be an ordinary person?" Zhang Xiaobao was still a little dissatisfied with this answer. He needed a definite answer, so he said, "Grandpa Bai, your nephew can do other things that are more profitable." "Oh. What is it? Tell me about it." The old man was interested. "Grandpa Bai, don't worry. With an uncle like you and your nephew's intelligence, how can he be as simple as an ordinary person?" Zhang Xiaobao changed the old man's words slightly and returned them. "Ha ha ha." The old man laughed even louder. He patted Zhang Xiaobao's head and said, "Xiaobao, your father has worked hard for 8 lifetimes to have a son like you. I have already written letters to some people, including one to the current emperor. They will still write to me for this favor." Zhang Xiaobao was slightly relieved, but he still replied, "Grandpa Bai, your nephew has worked hard for 8 lifetimes to have an uncle like you. My family already has a way for him to earn money. Don't worry, I still have the ability to do this." "Alright, then let's wait for your father to pass the imperial examinations and enter the top 3. When the time comes, your family's method of earning money won't be too late." The old man realized that as long as Zhang Xiaobao mentioned his father, there was no room for negotiation. He had to take out something in exchange. "Of course. My family has many good methods. Grandpa Bai, don't worry. There will always be a return on investment." Zhang Xiaobao still insisted. "I know. Your family will definitely be rewarded for their efforts. You came here so late to ask about this, right?" The old man finally understood. No wonder the two children came over. It was to ask about Zhang Zhong. Wang Wan immediately said, "No, Xiao Bao and I are here to see how big a fish Grandpa Bai can catch. Xiao Bao and I want to eat fish." The old man looked at Wang Wan and then at Xiao Bao and said, I know. It's fishing. I'll get a net later and catch 2 for you to eat. Pick the big one. Wang Wan didn't continue the old man's words. She yawned and asked Xiao Bao, I'm sleepy. Are you sleepy? I'm sleepy too. Grandpa Bai, we'll come again tomorrow. You can catch the fish first. Wait for someone to make it tomorrow. We've been walking for a day. I'm really sleepy. Xiao Bao had achieved his goal and was preparing to leave. There was no need to lie when facing the old man. The old man also liked Xiao Bao and Wang Wan's straightforward manner. He said, then go back and sleep. I'll take a look at the nature. This clairvoyance will be passed on. When the time comes, it will be credited to you, Zhangzhe Zhuangzi. The old man didn't know that the 2 children came here on their own. He thought that the person behind the scenes asked them to come here. When he saw the 2 children looking sleepy, he waved his hand and let the 2 children leave. Xiao Bao and Wang Wan used their interests to tie the old man down. Now that they were relieved, they bade farewell to the old man and walked back. It was late and countless lanterns were lit. No one knew that it was still cold in spring and delicious food was served on jade plates. In Chang'an City, Zhang Zhong was drinking with the people sent by County Magistrate Cheng at the Savant's restaurant. He finally knew what social activities were and what poetry recitals were. For several days, he didn't have a good rest. He drank with others all day and recited some poems while drinking. As he drank, he lost his sense of direction. In a daze, he was sent back to a small inn to rest. At first, he felt uncomfortable. Then, he was fed a lot of things. After that, he vomited. After vomiting, he was fed again. Only when he had nothing left to vomit did he drink something warm and sleep. The next morning, his head didn't hurt so much. Only his stomach felt uncomfortable. Soon, someone would bring some soup. After drinking the soup, he found that his stomach didn't feel uncomfortable anymore. It seemed that he could continue drinking. These were the 3 kinds of sobering soups. The first was to induce vomiting, the second was to refresh the mind, and the third was to warm the body. These soups added up to 5 or 6 taels of silver. It was not much compared to treating others to a meal, but it was not little at all. It was enough to buy a year's salary of a 7th-grade official. How could he buy so much food in exchange for a few soups? Today, Zhang Zhong was eating with some assistant ministers in the yamen. They were not high-ranking officials. Some were even in the position of helpers, but they had a lot of power. Zhang Zhong could only endure the discomfort and drink with them again and again. It was not easy for County Magistrate Cheng to find these people to eat with, but he also had to mention Father Zhang at the table and not offend him. Those who were found were also not having an easy time. County Magistrate Cheng gave them a lot of money. They knew who this place was and didn't need to spend money to eat and drink. In addition, during this period of time in the capital, they talked about how the head of the Zhang family, Zhang Zhong, worried about the country and the people, how he offered the winter vegetable recipe, and how many poems he wrote. All these added up, Zhang Zhong was praised to the sky. In addition, he was the first in the township tribute. It could be said that he was rich and talented. Everyone was saying good things about him. Zhang Zhong was a scholar and said whatever he wanted. The only good thing was that he either didn't drink too much and didn't offend people when he spoke, or he immediately shrank under the table when he drank too much and didn't offend people. Brother Yongqing, you are really good at writing. Why don't you go out of the east gate tomorrow and take a look at the mountain? A young assistant minister from the Ministry of Work said to Zhang Zhong after drinking a few bowls of wine. Okay, I will go out and take a look tomorrow. Zhang Zhong had gotten used to life these days. It was just drinking, flattering each other, and thinking of some sentences. Anyway, after drinking, other than feeling a little uncomfortable when he vomited, he was fine. So he just drank. Sometimes, when he drank too much, it seemed to be easier to write some poems. Ernio stood at the door and felt bad for his master. No one could be offended. He drank it almost every day and vomited every day. Sometimes, he even drank it in the morning. After vomiting, he still had to drink it in the afternoon. Fortunately, the medicine prepared here was sufficient to protect the master's body without any major problems. In just a few days, he had been to Savant's restaurant and Success House more than 10 times. He really didn't go outside. Maybe it was because of the cold weather, no one was willing to go outside to play. He also wrote a letter to Zhuangzi. The only difference between his master and others was that he never went to brothels, nor did he find any girls to play music. If others wanted to go to brothels, he would pay, but he never went himself. Every time someone said that he wasn't a man after drinking too much, he would always say, "Which girl can be compared to my Qiao, er? There are no more talented girls in this world. Talented girls can't produce good men." While others were puzzled, he hid under the table and was carried back. After a while, he fell asleep. The next day, he still drank like this. Just as everyone was drinking happily, the door of the room was pushed open. The waiter whispered behind, but this person ignored him. He entered the room, looked around, and said to Zhang Zhong, "Go to the Wang family immediately. Master is looking for you. Get out." Zhang Zhong was a little drunk now. What Wang family? He didn't know. "Zhang Zhong, don't you want to take the imperial examination this time?" That person's face sank. "Get out. Who is the waiter here? Do you still want to work?" Zhang Zhong hated the Wang family the most. When he heard this person's words, he knew which family he was from. Even if it was about the same as Mao Tai with 52% alcohol, he definitely couldn't taste the flavor of the sauce. How could other people know the Zhang family's manner as well as County Magistrate Qing did? The wine that was sent to them was not to be drunk like this, and it was definitely not to be drunk like this. The Zhang family's manner was a cut above the rest, and even Zhang Zhong did not drink it. He was not a fool and naturally praised it as much as he could. Anyway, when others smelled the wine, they would not know that he had poured it into his sleeve. Hearing Registrar Chang's praises, everyone was excited. The taste of this wine was different. They all tilted their heads back and downed it. The wine wasn't warm, and when it entered their mouths, it was cold. It was impossible to drink a bowl of wine while breathing. They had to hold their breath. A bowl of wine that was close to half a liter was downed. It was around 50 degrees. How is it? The wine sent over from home has a taste of home. A bowl of wine with feelings and a bowl of wine. Home is not far away. The pond should be green. My husband, wait for me to take the lead. Let's drink. Today, we won't stop until we're drunk. Fill the bowls. I'll accompany you to your heart's content. Father Zhang watched others drink the wine and became poetic. He waved his hand and asked Erniu to pour wine for him. Master, except for County Magistrate Qing, everyone else has had enough. Master, don't worry. When I ordered the waiter to bring the wine, I arranged for it to be sent home safely. Master, we're much more relaxed today. You don't have to vomit when you go back. Ernie watched the adults slip to the table one by one and said happily to Zhang Zhong. County Magistrate Qing quickly said, Ernie, I've always been good to you. Why didn't you have enough fun? Why don't you help your master back? After talking to Ernie, County Magistrate Qing said to Father Zhang, Brother Yongqing, good wine. Everyone has a good time today. You go back first. I'll watch over here. Zhang Zhong laughed, put his hand on Ernie's neck, and staggered away. Many waiters rushed in from outside, ready to help the officials up and send them home. At least, they wanted to hand them over to the servants. Take it away. Take the rest of the wine away. Don't put it in front of me. County Magistrate Cheng looked at the situation and waved his hand to ask the waiters to take away the wine that had not been poured. He admired Zhangjie Zhuangzi from the bottom of his heart. He said that they could not drink, so he really could not drink. Why didn't he pour it all away? While waiting for the waiter to take the jar away and hand the officials over to the servants who had come with them, County Magistrate Cheng sat there alone. Looking at the dishes on the table, he began to eat again. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, he felt that it was a little bland, so he took the bowl from before and dripped a drop into his mouth. What kind of wine is this? Why is it so strong? It must be useful. Otherwise, Zhangjie Zhuangzi would never make it. Well, the day before yesterday, a person from Tubo came to the post house and refused to leave. He kept saying that he wanted to see the emperor. Let him try it. County Magistrate Cheng sat there and muttered to himself. He felt that he could save some money by using this wine instead of other wines. He would feel better after drinking a little. So he shouted to the waiters at the door, "Bring back the remaining wine. I need it. It's still too bland. Why can't it be steamed?" Zhang Xiaobao was also drinking. There was a cup of wine between him and Wang Wan, which was made by them. This had been the 12th time, but they were still not satisfied with the degree. Zhang Xiaobao was sick and liked to drink strong wine. After a few cups, he no longer felt any pain. The wine he drank was similar to ergotu. It was stronger than ergotu. The so-called ergotu referred to the wine that was distilled twice. The wine that was mixed down was called jodo. The highest degree of jodo could reach more than 80 degrees. The jodo of barley could reach 60 degrees. Zhang Xiaobao drank between 75 and 80 degrees. There was no fragrance at all. It was just distilled from pure grains, which was better than blended wine. After drinking it, his whole stomach felt like it was filled with fire, and the pain in his body could not be felt. Now that he tasted the wine, he felt that it was bland. Wang Wan was the same. She could also drink it. Although her body was not as strong, the taste did not change. Then, can't the wine be steeped for 45 days? It has to be steeped for 60 days, right? Wang Wan looked at a bigger jar next to her and said. There were ginseng, wolfberry, and venomous snakes in that jar. They were going to give the wine to their family after they were steeped. Now they felt that the degree of jodo was low. They were afraid that the snake was not dead. Zhang Xiaobao was not sure. He knew that someone had bought fake wine and the degree of jodo was not high enough. He felt that the days were almost up and drank from the bottle. As a result, the snake bit his tongue and he did not have time to go to the hospital to get the serum. After thinking for a while, he said, "Then don't give the wine to your family first. Get more jars, bury them, and wait until next winter. Then try to distill it a few more times. If it is successful, we can use it to drive away mosquitoes in summer. That's the only way. Do you think your father will drink the wine we send to him? Such a strong wine will hurt people." Wang Wan did not have a better idea. Let it be for 1 year. Thinking of the several jars of wine that she sent a few days ago, she asked. Don't be afraid. Only a fool will drink that wine directly. Just smell it and you will know how strong it is. My father is not a fool. Zhang Xiaobao was not worried that his father would drink the wine empty-handed after knowing how to use it. He did not know that there were indeed many fools who drank half a gene of the wine in one go. As Zhang Xiaobao said, he thought of the old man again. Write something else. It will be useful when the time comes. I can't remember it. You don't have to. I will forget it. Just take a look. Write as much as you can remember. You are still going to give it to Grandpa Bai. Wang Wan said. Not now. I will keep it. When the time comes, I will exchange it with others. Go to bed early. We have to start working tomorrow. The wheat rice stone that Ernie brought back has to be moved to the new field. Don't let them find out that it was this stone that caused the wine. Zhang Xiaobao was very busy today. It was not time to rest yet, so he decided to lie down. If he continued, he would not be able to remember anything. Seeing that Wang Wan was also tired, he greeted her and went to lie down on the couch. Wang Wan yawned and said, Well, tomorrow we will say that we are going to build a house for them. Bring some stones and put them down. When the time comes, we will find a chance to scatter them in the field. In fact, we just want them to see it. We don't know what it is for. The next morning, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were waiting for breakfast at the table. Li Sun ran over excitedly and sat beside the table without hesitation. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, There is a good deal. I will count you in. Is your family willing? What kind of deal? Zhang Xiaobao asked curiously. Someone is looking for me. They want to build a dock, build ships, and run water, Li Sun said softly. Chapter 275. After Li Sun finished speaking, he winked at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both knew how much it would cost to build a shipyard. It was definitely not a small amount. Did Li Sun still have money? How much is it? Zhang Xiaobao asked what was on his mind. In the beginning, it will cost about 70,000 strings of coins. I'll wait for you for 3 months. You just need to take out 20,000 strings of coins. I can still provide another 10,000 strings of coins. We'll build it on the largest river in our state. After a year, there will be dozens of large ships coming down the river from here. The ships will slowly load up with goods and go along the river to Hebei province to sell some. Then, they will directly enter the sea and walk along the coast to Jiangnan East Province or Lingnan Province. 1 copper coin can be sold for 10 copper coins. What do you think? Won't you make a profit? Li Sun waved the chopsticks in his hand. At this moment, he was the most uncontrollable. His other hand clenched into a fist as he spoke excitedly. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at Wang Wan and nodded to Li Sun to show that he understood. He said, a total of 90,000 strings of coins. Wait for me for 3 months. When the time comes, we'll build a shipyard on the river next to the state capital. Dozens of large ships can be built in a year, and they can still travel by sea. Okay, that's great. Let's do it. Count my family in. I'll discuss it with my mother later. The little prince is amazing. What about the others? At this time next year, we can ship a large number of goods over there and make a profit. Then we can buy things over there and make another profit. That way, we'll make countless times more money, right? Yes, Xiaobao. You're really smart. You even thought of this. Li Sun did not expect Zhang Xiaobao to speak of the plan so quickly. He was full of admiration. Zhang Xiaobao quickly said modestly, It's nothing. A year is a bit long. If it were me, I would say half a year. It's just in time for autumn. When we get there, they have a lot of grain that can be shipped over. It's very cheap. Our grain is usually planted once a year. The south grows faster, and it's too easy to harvest twice a year. It can alleviate the food shortage in the north. In addition to food, there are also large pearls that can be transported back together. It won't take up much space. Let's open a jewelry workshop and make good jewelry to sell. What do you think? Li Sun's eyes widened as he listened to Zhang Xiaobao's words. He really didn't expect this to happen. He nodded fiercely, yes, that's what we'll do. I'll get someone to talk to them later. Zhang Xiaobao, you're amazing, you're really amazing. This is nothing. There's still good wood in the south, and some shark fins and so on. We'll bring them all back. We'll build a processing workshop here. When the time comes, we'll sell them at a higher price, right? Zhang Xiaobao continued. Yes, that's right. We must build a workshop. Li Sun was completely immersed in the project. Zhang Xiaobao continued, the workshop can't wait until the time comes. We must build it first. You go and tell them to build a few workshops in the Sanshui area, next to the river between the clouds and the water. When the river is connected, it'll be convenient to transport them. How could I forget? Oh, how about this? I'll build a jewelry workshop. I'll find some people to work on it first. When the materials are shipped over and the people are done with their training, I'll build a wood processing workshop and a workshop that specializes in making dried fish so that the dried fish taste better. We'll build these 3 workshops first. What do you think? When the time comes, we'll be rolling in money. You can wear whatever clothes you want. If you want to eat good food, you can go to different places to eat. If you want to play, you don't have to worry about not having enough money. My mother will definitely agree. You can rest assured and arrange it. Li Sun kept swallowing his saliva, imagining his future. He picked up the bowl of soy milk, raised his head and drank it. He grabbed a steamed bun, stuffed it into his mouth, and said, okay, I'll go right away. We can't delay. Let them build a workshop first, a big one. While talking, Li Sun ran away before he finished eating the steamed bun. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't send him off this time. They waited until Li Sun disappeared. Wang Wan finally couldn't help but laugh. Xiaobao, you're so bad. It's not easy for people to get along with Li Sun. Before they get anything, they have to pay first. Humph. They deserve it. They lied to me and even implicated Li Sun. If I don't teach them a lesson, next time, they can say that they'll build planes, ships, docks, and ships together. They can produce more than a dozen ships in a year. Let cherries hatch more ducks and geese. I'd rather believe that someone will use them for transportation. Zhang Xiaobao said disdainfully. Wang Wan held back her laughter. This is the advantage of being with Xiaobao. We don't have to worry about being cheated. The people of Sanshui County are lucky. 3 big workshops. How many people can they hire? When the workshops are built, the spring plowing will be over. People from other counties will also come to work. It's just a so-so. This kind of trick is too low level. Look at me. What's the big deal about building 3 workshops? I'll let them put all the money they used to cheat money in Sanshui County. Do they dare to refuse? Li Sun can eat them up. After 3 months, they won't have a single penny. They can go back to where they came from. I can give them some money for their travel. Zhang Xiaobao was worried about his father. Now that the swindler came, he had a belly full of anger. He had a place to vent it. Li Sun's efficiency in doing things was very high. At noon that day, he had already discussed with those people. They would first build 3 large workshops in Sanshui County and recruit people on the spot. The initial investment would be 13,000 to 14,000 strings of coins. Those people only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Li Sun took them to enclose the land. When they met people from Zhuangzi, they had to compensate them. All kinds of materials had to be bought from the local area. It was not easy to hire labor now. In the surrounding areas, except for the spring plowing, people were hired to repair the river. Naturally, the price was higher. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were busy burying stones onto Zhuangzi. They had been smashed. The farmers didn't know what the stones were for. Zhang Xiaobao asked the people following him to tell some lies. For example, after burying the stones in the ground, they would lead to a good life and other mysterious things. At night, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had been tired all day, were preparing to take a hot bath and sleep. Li Sun came again and said excitedly, "Xiaobao, how's the discussion? Starting tomorrow, our workshops will be built." "Really? That's great. Let's build it." My mother agreed. She said that when the time comes, we can wait for little Luoshui's money to finish the supermarket first. Then, we can take out the money. There will be boats coming from the river here. Then, we will have more money. Zhang Xiaobao said something to reassure Li Sun. Then he said, "Is the leather in the south valuable? If they can't be worn, they can be used as bedding and make some decorations. We have a lot of leather in the north. When the boats pass by this time next year, it's better to buy some leather. It's not suitable now. Wait for another 2 months. When those animals eat well and gain weight, the leather on their bodies will be good. It's the season to buy leather." "Yes, that's right. We'll buy leather then." Li Sun was thinking about making money. He thought about what Zhang Xiaobao said and quickly agreed. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and said, "It will be too late by then. Others will also buy it. How about this? We have a supermarket. Let them sign a contract with our supermarket. They will pay 20% of the money as a deposit. We are familiar with this side. Then we can buy it from those hunters. That's the same thing. My family will be in charge of this matter. You just need to let them sign the contract with our supermarket and pay the deposit. It's estimated that it will cost 6 or 7,000 strings of coins. Think about it, a good leather coat will cost a few hundred strings of coins. If they can come up with the money, it will be 10,000 strings of coins. Yes, I'll go back and ask someone to find them right away. We'll sign it tomorrow morning. It's all money." Li Sun slapped his thigh, turned around and ran away. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his nose and said to Wang Wan, "Don't think about Li Sun anymore. Let's go, take a hot bath, sleep, and have a good dream." Wang Wan sighed for those people and followed Zhang Xiaobao into the house. Since Li Sun came back, he couldn't stay still. He asked someone to tell those people to come over tomorrow to discuss things. He tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. He lay on the bed and thought for a while. Then, he got up and went to find his teacher, the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man wasn't asleep at this time. He was reading a book in his hand in the study. The sound of Li Sun's footsteps made him turn out of the book. He looked at Li Sun standing in front of him and asked, "Little prince, what's the matter?" "Teacher, it's good news. Did you see that I didn't come back for 2 days? I went to make a lot of money." Li Sun's purpose of finding his teacher was to share the joy in his heart with him. The middle-aged man asked curiously, "Oh. How did the little prince make a lot of money? Is it with Zhangjie Zhuangzi again? That's not bad. Zhangjie Zhuangzi knows how to make money and is not afraid of losing money. Zhangjie Zhuangzi's people are reliable. If they can find the little prince, then it's good for the marquis." "No, they weren't the ones looking for me. I was the one who found them and brought them along to earn money. I can't always take advantage of others." Why can't I think of them when there are benefits? Li Sun said proudly. Little prince, can you tell me what it is? The middle-aged man didn't believe that the little prince had any idea to make money. Li Sun coughed softly and said, shipbuilding and docking. After a year, there will be dozens of ships. I can then sell the goods here to the south and exchange them for food and other things. I can make a lot of money again by sea. Going by sea. Building dozens of ships a year. Little prince, is this possible? The middle-aged man still knew some things. I also asked. They said there are other ways to build ships. It must be feasible. Now they are building a workshop in Sanshui County and buying leather. Li Sun finally did something and was confident. He didn't allow others to refute him. He repeated Zhang Xiaobao's words to the middle-aged man. After the middle-aged man heard, he sighed and said, since the little prince is willing to do it, then let's do it. Bring the Zhang family along. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.